something deeper, that maybe we've been taught to chase the wrong things. This video isn't about surface-level charm or charisma, it's about the truth, the raw, inconvenient truth. The very habits that make Sigma males so powerful are the same ones that make others uncomfortable. Not because they're wrong, but because they force people to confront their own weaknesses. So sit still, we're going deep. Habit 1, when presence feels like rejection. The modern world is designed to hijack your attention. Every app is meticulously crafted to trigger dopamine hits, making you crave likes, swipes, and endless scrolling. Brands spend billions to make you feel incomplete without their product. Social media influencers transform personal moments into performances, choreographing authenticity for views. In the middle of this digital circus where noise is currency and visibility is power, the Sigma male steps back. He doesn't dance for algorithms or plead for relevance. He's not interested in broadcasting his breakfast or arguing in comment sections. Instead, he observes silently, strategically. He disappears from group chats, not out of rudeness, but out of rebellion, rejecting the unspoken demand to be constantly available. He skips the party not because he's shy, but because he values substance over spectacle. And when he does walk away, it's without a dramatic exit or lingering goodbyes. That silence, it's deafening to those who need constant reassurance. His absence becomes a mirror, reflecting others' insecurities. People don't hate the Sigma because he's distant. They hate that he's immune to the system they've surrendered to. In a world addicted to validation, his indifference is revolutionary. Society tries to frame him as antisocial, broken, or cold because labeling him makes him easier to dismiss. But the truth is, he's not playing their game, he's playing his own. Research in psychology has shown that people who are less dependent on external validation tend to be more emotionally resilient and self-aware. The Sigma embodies this, functioning with an internal compass rather than a crowdsourced map. His detachment isn't apathy, it's a conscious boundary. He's not hostile, he's just free. And that freedom in a world built on conformity is terrifying, because the moment you stop needing the crowd is the moment you realize how much control they had. The Sigma male has already realized this. He's not here to be liked, he's here to be real, and that alone makes him dangerous in a society addicted to performance. Habit 2, indifference is his armor. People often misunderstand the Sigma male because he doesn't operate like the rest. His calm demeanor is mistaken for coldness, his silence for arrogance, and his emotional detachment for disrespect, but nothing could be further from the truth. Internally, the Sigma is not wrestling with the need to be liked or validated. There is no internal chaos demanding external comfort. He's not chasing the highs of applause or running from the lows of criticism. What lies beneath his still surface is a rare form of self-mastery, emotional sovereignty. Studies in psychology confirm that individuals with high emotional intelligence are less reactive and more resilient under pressure. And the Sigma embodies this to the extreme. He moves through conflict with surgical precision, addressing problems not with raised voices or flared tempers, but with calm decisions and calculated boundaries. He doesn't lash out because he doesn't need to. That kind of control, especially in high-stakes or emotionally charged situations, can be unnerving to those who are ruled by impulse and emotion. People who haven't developed that level of inner discipline often find his composure threatening, so they call it cold, they call it robotic, they call it disgusting. But what they really mean is intimidating, because in a society where emotional reaction is currency, where drama, outrage, and vulnerability are traded like likes and retweets, his refusal to play along is seen as rebellion. He doesn't crumble when ignored, he doesn't beg for attention, and he certainly doesn't compromise his peace to soothe someone else's chaos. He isn't heartless, he simply isn't governed by emotional storms. That's a level of independence most don't understand, and yet paradoxically, it's what draws people in. There's strength in his silence, power in his restraint. In a culture saturated with oversharing and overreacting, the Sigma stands apart. He's proof that you don't have to be loud to be powerful, and you don't have to be seen to be in control. His detachment isn't rejection, it's refinement. It's the result of years spent mastering the inner world while others were distracted by the outer one. In a world addicted to emotional reactions, the Sigma's calm is not a flaw, it's a threat. And deep down they know it. Habit 3, he exposes the performers. In social settings, Sigma males do something deceptively simple, yet undeniably dangerous. They listen, they watch, they calculate, While others compete for attention, status, or validation, the Sigma remains silent, observant, and disengaged from the social rat race. This isn't passivity, it's power in its quietest form. The Sigma male doesn't need to assert dominance because he dismantles the very framework that demands it. When the loudest man in the room boasts about his achievements, the Sigma offers no applause or rivalry, only a calm, unreadable gaze. When a manipulator spins their web of control, the Sigma doesn't argue or react. He simply removes himself from the trap, exposing the manipulator's game without a word. His silence becomes unsettling because it doesn't offer the emotional feedback people crave. Psychologically, humans are wired to seek acknowledgement, to test their power against others. The Sigma denies them that satisfaction, and in doing so, he becomes a mirror, one that reflects not admiration but insecurity. This is why many find the Sigma male unnerving. He operates outside the traditional social hierarchy, where alpha males dominate and betas submit. In fact, psychologist Robert Hogan's socioanalytic theory explains that most people are driven by a need to get along and get ahead. The Sigma violates both. He doesn't strive to belong and he doesn't chase status. Yet paradoxically, his independence becomes magnetic. People can't ignore him, and that breeds resentment. His refusal to play by society's rules feels like rebellion, especially in a world obsessed with visibility and performance. His power lies in detachment. While others are busy strategizing their next move in the social chess game, the Sigma is already 3 moves ahead, or not even playing the game at all. This psychological distance allows him to observe motives, read intentions, and dismantle manipulative structures with surgical precision. He doesn't need to dominate the room to own it. His quiet presence challenges the very foundation of social power, and that in itself is threatening. People hate him not because he tries to win, but because he doesn't try at all, and still leaves a lasting impact. In a society addicted to noise, the Sigma's silence is revolutionary and dangerous. Habit 4, mastery offends the mediocre. Most people today are addicted to distraction, and not by accident. In a world engineered for instant gratification, the average person scrolls, swipes, and refreshes their way through life, chasing fleeting hits of dopamine from social media, gossip, and superficial entertainment. It's a mental diet of junk food. And just like poor nutrition ruins the body, poor mental input sabotages growth. But the Sigma male is wired differently. He doesn't chase dopamine, he chases discipline. While others binge-watch shows or endlessly check their notifications, the Sigma is building. He's learning a new skill, refining his craft, investing in silence, and making invisible gains that compound over time. He doesn't seek validation from others. He's too focused on validating his own potential. This quiet dedication makes him both admirable and threatening. Not because he brags about his progress, he doesn't. In fact, his success is often invisible until it becomes undeniable. He simply becomes unreachable, not because he looks down on others, but because he's operating on a frequency few are willing to tune into, mentally, financially, and spiritually. And as his life begins to transform, people take notice, but not in celebration. Instead, they whisper, "He's just lucky. He's weird. He's full of himself." But deep down, their criticisms are a defense mechanism, a way to excuse their own complacency. The Sigma's very existence is a quiet indictment of their wasted potential. He represents what they could have become had they chosen focus over distraction, discipline over indulgence, purpose over popularity. His life becomes a mirror they can't escape, reflecting the reality they've avoided. That's why they hate him, not for what he says, but for what he silently reminds them. They're choosing stagnation while he chooses growth. And in a society that rewards noise and punishes solitude, the Sigma male's refusal to conform is both rebellious and powerful. He's not addicted to distractions. He's addicted to becoming the man he was always meant to be. Habit 5, disappearing without explanation. The Sigma male doesn't make a scene when he leaves. He doesn't slam doors or send dramatic texts. He simply vanishes without warning or explanation. To many, this behavior feels cold or dismissive, but in truth, it has nothing to do with cruelty. It's self-preservation. The Sigma is wired differently. He doesn't thrive on social validation or external reassurance. Instead, he operates from a deeply internal compass, and when he senses imbalance, manipulation, or emotional noise, his instinct is to retreat, not to hurt, not to punish, but to recharge, reassess, and protect his peace. His silence is not a declaration of war. It's an act of quiet rebellion against the chaotic pull of modern interpersonal expectations. Yet for those left behind, his exit feels like abandonment. Why? Because in a world obsessed with attention, validation, and being seen, the Sigma's withdrawal acts like a mirror. It reflects just how dependent many have become on external affirmation. Ghosting, a term often associated with immaturity or disrespect, takes on a different meaning when viewed through the Sigma lens. It's not a tactic, it's a philosophy. While others demand closure and explanations, the Sigma sees no need to explain what he didn't disrupt. His departure is not an attack, it's an alignment with authenticity. And this calm detachment, this complete indifference to dramatic farewells, hits harder than any argument. In fact, studies in psychology suggest that emotional ambiguity, such as a sudden, unexplained withdrawal, can be more psychologically distressing than overt conflict. It leaves the other person spiraling in self-doubt, not because of the Sigma's cruelty, but because of their own unhealed need for validation. The Sigma doesn't seek to sting, but the silence speaks louder than confrontation ever could. And that's what truly unsettles people, not the distance itself, but the realization that they were never as necessary to him as they thought. His world doesn't crumble without them. He doesn't beg for understanding. He just moves quietly, powerfully, and on his own terms. That is the essence of Sigma detachment. Not bitter, but deliberate. Not emotional manipulation, but energetic recalibration. And in a society addicted to noise, his silence is louder than thunder. Habit 6, speaking only when necessary. The Sigma male is allergic to small talk, not in the literal medical sense, of course, but in the way a minimalist reacts to clutter. It irritates him, bores him, and drains him. Unlike others who feel the need to fill silence with idle chatter just to avoid the discomfort of stillness, the Sigma male treats silence like a canvas, not a void. He doesn't speak to validate himself, to prove his worth, or to curry favor. He speaks when he has something to say, deliberate, calculated, and purposeful. This is not a matter of arrogance, but of authenticity. His communication is rooted in substance over style, and depth over decoration. But to the average observer, his reserved demeanor can feel cold, standoffish, or even robotic. That's because we live in a culture that often equates verbal fluency with friendliness and silence with judgment. The Sigma male breaks that code entirely. Research in psychology confirms that people with introverted or highly independent temperaments like the Sigma archetype tend to find small talk not just tedious but cognitively taxing. It's not that they can't engage, they simply choose not to waste energy on conversations that don't move the needle. And that choice unsettles people. In a world dominated by noise, where everyone's broadcasting their thoughts and opinions 24/7, silence is often mistaken for disdain. But for the Sigma male, silence is strength. It's discipline. It's a filter that guards his energy, allowing him to invest his attention into ideas, pursuits, and people that actually matter. While others scatter their words like confetti, hoping something sticks, he treats his words like arrows, few, precise, and aimed with intent. In this sense, his quiet presence becomes a kind of rebellion against the performative noise of modern life. And paradoxically, that silence speaks louder than any sales pitch or social performance ever could. It's not that he's trying to insult anyone, he just refuses to speak unless his words carry weight. Habit 7, pursuing purpose, not popularity. He doesn't network, he aligns. In a world obsessed with constant self-promotion, handshakes, and status-driven circles, the Sigma male operates on a different frequency. He doesn't chase connections for clout. He seeks alignment of purpose, values, and vision. This is not arrogance, it's intentional living. While most people attend events, collect business cards, and trade authenticity for acceptance, the Sigma male works in silence to make himself undeniable. He doesn't shout his potential, he proves it. And this right here is what unsettles others. Society often rewards performative behavior over substance, but the Sigma's strength lies in doing the exact opposite. He isn't interested in playing the popularity game. His self-worth isn't dependent on being liked, validated, or praised. According to psychological studies, individuals with strong internal motivation, like Sigma personalities, are more likely to experience long-term fulfillment and resilience. This makes the Sigma male dangerous in the eyes of a conformist world because he doesn't need the approval of others to act. His goals are not sculpted by Instagram trends, peer pressure, or applause. He has a clear inner compass that guides his mission, often forged in solitude, hardship, and fierce independence. While others gravitate toward the crowd for safety and identity, he moves toward clarity, of thought, of purpose, of soul. Crowds can be noisy and chaotic. Clarity, on the other hand, is rare and earned. He builds while others scroll. He reflects while others react. This is not just a different habit, it's a different blueprint for life. And people don't just fail to understand it, they fear it. Why? Because it exposes their own dependency on external validation. It forces them to confront the uncomfortable truth that the loudest in the room is rarely the strongest. The Sigma male isn't antisocial, he's selectively social. He doesn't crave attention, he commands respect. And perhaps the scariest part, he does it all without asking for permission. In a world addicted to being seen, the Sigma male has mastered the art of becoming unforgettable without ever needing to be loud. Habit 8, rejecting manipulation instantly. The Sigma spots manipulation like smoke in a room, swift, subtle, and suffocating if unnoticed. Whether it's guilt-tripping disguised as concern, gaslighting masked by confusion, or flattery laced with ulterior motives, the Sigma male doesn't fall for it, not because he's cold-hearted, but because he's emotionally intelligent and mentally unshakable. You see, the Sigma operates from a place of inner clarity. He's studied human behavior intentionally or intuitively, and understands that manipulation thrives on emotional reaction. The manipulator's toolbox relies on getting a rise out of their target: confusion, defensiveness, anger, and neediness. But the Sigma offers none of these. He doesn't bite the bait, he doesn't argue to set the record straight, nor does he beg to be understood. Instead, he simply disengages. His silence is not a lack of awareness, it's a calculated move. Psychology tells us that manipulation loses its power when it is not rewarded with attention or emotion. The Sigma lives by this law. He stays calm, observes patterns, and when the signs become clear, he detaches. Manipulators hate him for this, because their power dissolves in the face of emotional neutrality. While most people are pulled into the manipulator's game, trying to explain themselves, defending their worth, or trying to fix the situation, the Sigma does the opposite. He exits, quietly, cleanly, effectively. This behavior is rooted in what some psychologists refer to as gray rocking, a technique where one becomes so emotionally unresponsive that the manipulator loses interest. But for the Sigma, this isn't a trick, it's a lifestyle. His minimal attachment to social validation gives him the freedom to walk away from toxic dynamics without second-guessing himself. He doesn't seek closure. He doesn't need to win. His win is peace. And so, while manipulators create storms, the Sigma walks in with a barometer and a parachute. He doesn't just survive manipulation, he makes it obsolete. The game ends before it even begins because he refuses to play. In a world that rewards reaction, his stillness is rebellion. In an arena where manipulators feed on emotional drama, the Sigma offers only one thing: ice-cold awareness. He's not angry. He's not bitter. He's just gone. And by the time the manipulator realizes they have no strings to pull, the Sigma is already halfway across the mental map, exploring higher ground where peace and purpose, not power plays, are the currencies of value. The Sigma male doesn't set out to be disliked. He simply lives as his most authentic self. He doesn't conform, doesn't flatter, and certainly doesn't beg for validation. In a world addicted to likes, masks, and shallow approval, his quiet defiance becomes an unspoken rebellion. Psychologically, this self-possession can trigger insecurity in others because it reflects a freedom they secretly crave but fear to pursue. People don't hate him for doing wrong, they resent him for doing what they're too afraid to do, live unfiltered. So while others judge or gossip, the Sigma watches, adapts, and evolves, alone, unnoticed, and unforgettable. Sigmas don't flinch when insulted. He doesn't react when pushed. And when the world raises its voice, he responds with silence. But this silence is not surrender. It's power. It's the strength of a man who's evolved beyond petty confrontations, emotional reactivity, and the need to explain himself to people who were never listening. This isn't apathy. It's not weakness. It's the final form of psychological mastery. When a Sigma becomes untouchable, he enters a state of quiet dominance. While the world runs on noise, validation, and constant social positioning, the Sigma operates in stillness. Studies in behavioral psychology reveal that people who remain calm under stress are perceived as more competent and authoritative. That's exactly what makes the Sigma so unsettling. He breaks social scripts simply by not playing the game. Most men are triggered by disrespect, rejection, or pressure. But the Sigma has trained his mind through solitude, reflection, and detachment. He understands the psychology of control, how those who try to provoke are often revealing their own insecurities. His lack of response becomes a mirror that reflects the chaos of others. He doesn't fight for dominance. His presence alone shifts the dynamic. This isn't about becoming Sigma. This is about the final stage, the untouchable phase. It's when he no longer seeks to fit in, explain himself, or prove his worth. Instead, he influences quietly, strategically, and permanently. He becomes an enigma, a disruptor, a calm force in a world of chaos. And people don't know how to handle a man who can't be manipulated. So if you've ever walked away instead of lashing out or been misunderstood, not because you were wrong, but because you were ahead of your time, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. This is the mindset of the man who cannot be shaken. Welcome to the final form of masculine self-mastery. Let's begin. Number 1, he masters the art of saying less. Words are currency, and the Sigma male spends them like gold, rarely, wisely, never carelessly. In a world obsessed with noise, chatter, and constant validation, the Sigma stands apart like a silent mountain. He doesn't waste words trying to be heard. He waits until the silence is so loud that his voice naturally becomes the focus. Where most people fear awkward pauses in conversation, he sees opportunity. Silence to him is not emptiness, it's presence, it's pressure, it's power. Studies in communication have shown that nonverbal cues, including silence, can be more influential than spoken words. The Sigma understands this instinctively. He lets silence do the heavy lifting while others scramble to fill the void. While some speak to impress, weaving elaborate stories to seek approval, the Sigma speaks to impact. His words aren't just sounds, they're statements. And because he doesn't constantly broadcast his thoughts when he speaks, it lands with precision and weight. Psychologically, people are wired to pay more attention to what's scarce and unpredictable. This is why his mystery becomes magnetic. Oversharing dilutes power. Withholding builds it. The Sigma sharpens his language the way a warrior sharpens his blade. His sentences are short, intentional, and clear, not because he's uninterested, but because he respects the strength of well-placed words. Just as an author trims unnecessary words to strengthen prose, the Sigma refines his speech to eliminate waste. Every word is like a sniper's bullet, measured, calculated, and powerful. This minimalist communication style not only commands respect, it also leaves others slightly on edge. They wonder what he's thinking, they replay his sentences, they anticipate his next move, and that anticipation, that curiosity, gives him a psychological edge in nearly every social interaction. In business, relationships, and leadership, the ability to control a room without saying much is a rare form of influence. The Sigma has mastered that art. His silence is not absence, it's awareness. And his speech is not noise, it's strategy. He knows that in the economy of influence, cheap talk is inflation. So he invests his words like a master trader, only when the return is guaranteed. That's why people listen when he speaks, because every word is chosen like a strike of a blade. Number 2, he observes first, then moves. While others rush in, the Sigma male watches. He doesn't operate in panic or eagerness. Instead, he approaches life like a strategist on a chessboard. He scans the room, not just with his eyes, but with a sharpened intuition trained to read body language, tone, and subtle shifts in energy. Where most people speak to be heard, the Sigma listens to understand. He studies people not to manipulate, but to position himself wisely. His silence isn't empty, it's tactical. In psychology, this is called a trait often linked with high emotional intelligence and strategic thinkers. Unlike the alpha, who thrives on dominance, or the beta, who conforms, the Sigma thrives in calculated detachment. He lets people talk, rant, boast, and bluff, because he knows that given enough time, everyone shows their true hand. He doesn't chase fleeting moments, he times them with surgical precision. In nature, predators like the snow leopard don't waste energy sprinting after every movement. They wait for the perfect opening. The Sigma is no different. He's not interested in being first to jump at every opportunity. He's obsessed with being right. That's the Sigma edge. He trusts his process more than the noise of the crowd. When others are busy acting for attention, posting every move online, seeking validation, the Sigma is moving silently, stacking quiet wins, and preparing for long-term positioning. You might spot him in the corner of the room, seemingly disengaged, but mentally he's already 5 moves ahead. His mind works like a radar, tracking motives, predicting reactions, and assessing potential threats or allies. It's a slow burn strategy, and it works. In military terms, this is the principle of observe, orient, decide, act, OODA loop, and Sigma males live it unconsciously. They don't seek the spotlight because they don't need it. What they want is power, not applause. And power, in the Sigma's world, is born from patience, perception, and precision. While others are burning themselves out trying to impress, the Sigma is quietly building leverage, social, psychological, and financial. Because at the end of the day, he knows something most don't. Timing trumps talent, and silence screams louder than noise. Number 3, he detaches without bitterness. When he leaves, it's clean. No lingering texts, no unfinished conversations, no messy emotional loops, just silence. Complete final. That's the signature move of the Sigma male. It's not heartlessness, it's discipline. It's a calculated understanding of self-worth and emotional boundaries. While the world is caught up in chasing closure, rehashing arguments, or seeking validation from those who don't value them, the Sigma walks away with something much stronger than vengeance, clarity. He knows something most don't. Detachment isn't weakness, it's power. Psychologically, detachment is the ability to separate one's sense of identity and peace from external chaos. In fact, cognitive behavioral studies suggest that emotional detachment can improve mental health by reducing stress and anxiety, especially in toxic environments. The Sigma male has mastered this. He doesn't ghost to be cruel. He vanishes to protect his energy. He's not emotionally unavailable. He's emotionally selective. He knows that not everyone deserves access to his presence, and he refuses to let drama take root in his life. When a connection turns into confusion, he doesn't demand explanations. He doesn't stalk social media for signs or replay memories in his head. Instead, he lets it all go. People, situations, even feelings that once ran deep. He lets them dissolve like smoke in the wind. Why? Because he knows the cost of clinging to what no longer serves him. The Sigma doesn't beg for closure because he's the closure. His internal compass is strong enough to navigate storms without needing someone else to hand him a map. That's the secret. It's not that he doesn't care, it's that he cares enough about himself not to stay in dysfunction. This self-respect, this emotional self-sufficiency is rare and intimidating to many. In a world where people are addicted to emotional chaos, the Sigma chooses peace. And when he walks away, it isn't a cry for attention, it's a final decision. A quiet assertion that his value does not decrease when someone fails to see it. So if a Sigma male leaves, understand it wasn't impulsive, it was intentional. He saw the storm ahead and chose stillness over struggle. No drama, no guilt, just clean silence. The sound of a man who refuses to drown in someone else's storm. Number 4, he trains in solitude. While the world finds comfort in crowds, the Sigma male finds discipline in distance. A quiet rebellion against the noise of conformity. Unlike most who fear solitude, the Sigma does not withdraw to escape the world. He does so to sharpen himself against it. His withdrawal isn't rooted in antisocial behavior, but in a relentless commitment to personal growth. Solitude for him isn't loneliness, it's strategy. Neuroscience even supports this. Studies have shown that solitude can enhance creativity, improve focus, and strengthen emotional regulation. In silence, the Sigma sharpens his thoughts like a blade, cutting away distractions, doubts, and dependence. He uses isolation not as an escape, but as an incubator for transformation. While others seek validation in likes, status, and applause, he seeks clarity in quiet places where the only voice that matters is his own. In solitude, he doesn't just reflect, he plans. He envisions futures no one else can see and works tirelessly behind the scenes to bring them into reality. This discipline in distance is what gives him his edge. When no one is watching, he trains. When others are distracted by noise and trends, he builds in silence. It's a level of self-leadership few can understand because it's not performative. It's purpose-driven. And that's precisely why when he re-emerges, people are shocked. He moves differently, speaks with certainty, and operates at a frequency they weren't ready for. There's a psychological term for this transformation, and it's known to unlock higher cognitive function and self-awareness. The Sigma male doesn't distance himself because he's broken. He distances himself because he's building. And what he's building isn't just success, it's mastery. Mastery over his mind, his path, and his purpose. In a world addicted to constant interaction, the Sigma chooses meaningful evolution. He understands something powerful. Progress often requires stepping away from the crowd to hear the whisper of who you're meant to become. Number 5, he does not explain himself. The Sigma male doesn't need you to understand him, and that's not arrogance, it's self-mastery. He operates on a different frequency, one that isn't tuned to social approval or external validation. While most people spend their lives curating an image, trying to be understood, liked, or accepted, the Sigma walks the opposite path. He's not here to be interpreted, explained, or neatly categorized. His mission is internal, understanding himself, refining his own character, and building his life on principles that don't require applause. You won't find him in debates trying to prove his point, nor will you hear him begging for someone to believe in his vision. He's not driven by the need to be seen. He's driven by the need to be real. Psychologically, this is rooted in high intrapersonal intelligence, a term coined by developmental psychologist Howard Gardner, describing individuals who possess a deep awareness of their inner emotional life and motivations. Sigmas embrace this self-awareness with calm precision. They don't shout their truth, they embody it. And that's the catch. Real truth doesn't scream for attention. It doesn't need to convince. It simply exists quietly, like a mountain in the distance. The Sigma male mirrors that stillness. His power lies in presence, not persuasion. Let people talk. Let them speculate, gossip, label, or misunderstand him. It doesn't matter. While they're trying to decode his silence or pick apart his decisions, he's already a few moves ahead, evolving, pivoting, and thriving without explanation. Sociologists might call him an intentional outsider, someone who chooses solitude not from rejection but from clarity. That's why Sigma males often seem detached. They're not emotionally absent, they're emotionally disciplined. They refuse to waste energy where none is needed. If he walks away from an argument, it's not because he's weak, it's because he knows the battlefield isn't worth the war. In a world obsessed with noise, the Sigma male is fluent in silence. And in that silence, he finds something most never do: peace, purpose, and power. So no, he doesn't need you to get him. He's not waiting for that. He's already gone, chasing something bigger than attention: truth, growth, and legacy. Number 6, he values precision over perfection. The Sigma male doesn't waste time chasing perfection because he knows it doesn't exist. In a world obsessed with flawless outcomes and polished appearances, the Sigma sees through the illusion. Perfection to him is a myth, a socially engineered trap designed to keep capable men stuck in endless preparation, doubt, and delay. He understands that perfection is a moving target, and those who chase it often end up standing still. Instead, the Sigma chooses effectiveness. He values results over aesthetics, progress over paralysis. His focus is on what works, not what looks good on paper. This mindset is rooted in a practical, almost scientific approach to life. Psychologists have long recognized the difference between perfectionism and high achievement. While perfectionists often fear failure and procrastinate, high achievers, like the Sigma, set realistic goals and move forward with purpose, even if the path is messy. The Sigma isn't careless, though. Every move he makes is calculated. His choices are measured, not impulsive. He applies a principle similar to the 80-20th rule, also known as the Pareto principle, which states that 80% of outcomes come from 20% of efforts. He identifies the essential 20% that brings the most return and focuses his energy there. That's why he doesn't waste time obsessing over the small details that have little impact. Even when he makes mistakes, he sees them as data points, not failures. To him, errors are not setbacks, but feedback loops that sharpen his precision. It's a deliberate process of refinement, like a sculptor removing excess stone to reveal the form within. Each mistake gives him a clearer sense of what works and what doesn't. This is what separates the Sigma from others. He doesn't fear imperfection, he harnesses it. Because while perfection paralyzes the masses, precision builds the Sigma's empire, one intentional decision at a time. In a society where many are stuck tweaking, editing, revising, and waiting for the perfect moment, the Sigma is already 10 steps ahead, not because he's reckless, but because he knows that clarity emerges from action, not overthinking. His life is a series of purposeful movements, not endless rehearsals. And that is where his power lies, not in flawless execution, but in flawless direction. By pursuing effectiveness over perfection, the Sigma becomes the kind of man who builds, adapts, and rises, while others remain frozen in the illusion of getting it just right. Number 7, he builds quiet power. Power isn't always loud. It doesn't always roar through dominance or demand attention in a crowded room. Sometimes real power walks in quietly, says nothing, and still changes the entire atmosphere. This is the kind of power the Sigma male embodies, a power rooted not in bravado but in self-restraint. In a world that praises overreaction, the Sigma remains still. While others feel the need to clap back, to prove themselves, or to win every argument, the Sigma male understands that silence can be the sharpest sword. Neuroscience even supports this. Studies show that people who can manage their emotional responses, particularly in stressful situations, have higher emotional intelligence, which is directly linked to better decision-making, leadership, and long-term success. The Sigma has mastered this. He doesn't react because he doesn't need validation. His power is in the pause, in the ability to choose not to respond, to walk away without a word, and to never look back. It's not that he's weak or incapable. It's that he's evolved past the need to engage in meaningless power plays. Unlike the alpha, who thrives on control, or the beta, who seeks approval, the Sigma seeks peace. And ironically, that makes him more powerful than both. His life isn't a stage show, but a blueprint for quiet mastery. You won't see him flaunting wins on social media, but his results speak volumes. Through the businesses he builds, the lives he impacts, and the calm certainty that follows him. When you cross paths with a Sigma male, you won't remember what he wore or even what he said. What you'll remember is how his calm presence made you feel. There's no need for showmanship because his energy says everything. That's not arrogance. It's alignment. Alignment with his purpose, his values, and his inner code. True alignment eliminates the need for external validation. It silences the noise of insecurity and replaces it with clarity. And in that clarity, the Sigma male becomes untouchable, not because he's the loudest, but because he's the most grounded. His silence is not emptiness. It's control. His calm is not weakness. It's awareness. And his restraint is not submission. It's power refined. The Sigma male doesn't just walk away from conflict. He rises above it. And that is the kind of power that doesn't need to shout to be felt. It's simply number 8. He doesn't fear being misunderstood. Most people go through life trying to fit in, fearing rejection like it's a death sentence. The need to be liked, understood, and accepted by others is deeply wired into human psychology. But the Sigma male, he operates on an entirely different frequency. While others shrink at the idea of being misjudged or misunderstood, the Sigma thrives in it. Misunderstanding for him is not a curse. It's camouflage. It protects his mission. It keeps him hidden from unnecessary attention, from social obligations that drain his energy, and from the expectations that chain most people to a version of themselves they don't even recognize. He doesn't crave validation because he understands something powerful. Most people are projecting, not perceiving. So when the world slaps a label on him, cold, distant, arrogant, he doesn't flinch, he doesn't explain. Why? Because explanation is an invitation, and he's not looking to be invited into their boxes. Sigmas are deeply introspective by nature, often driven by internal compasses that don't require applause or applause meters. Psychology even points to this mindset as a form of self-determined motivation, where purpose is driven from within, not from external rewards or recognition. The Sigma walks his path silently, often misunderstood, but completely aligned with who he is. And paradoxically, that very detachment makes him unforgettable. People may not understand him, but they can't stop thinking about him. There's a mystery to him that lingers, a calmness that unnerves, and a confidence that speaks without words. He doesn't need the world to walk with him. He just needs room to walk alone. And that's exactly what makes his presence so rare, so powerful, and so impossible to ignore. Becoming untouchable isn't about shutting down emotions, it's about sharpening your clarity. A Sigma male isn't numb, he's intentional. He knows his values, guards his peace, and walks a path few dare to follow. While the world scrambles for attention and overreacts to every slight, the Sigma remains still, mastering self over chaos. This stillness isn't weakness, it's power. In psychological terms, this self-regulation builds resilience, calm, and focus. By conquering himself, the Sigma becomes both invisible to nonsense and unforgettable to the wise. She smiles, most men melt, but the Sigma observes. This moment isn't about charm or attraction, it's about data. The Sigma male isn't swept up by the performance, he's dissecting it. Every laugh that lingers too long, every story with convenient gaps, every subconscious adjustment of her posture, these are signals. And while the average man chases the high of connection, the Sigma is tuned to the frequency beneath the noise. He's a behavioral analyst in disguise. Rooted in psychology, his mind draws from concepts like body language interpretation, micro-expression analysis, and evolutionary psychology. He knows, for instance, that dilated pupils often indicate interest, while fidgeting may mask nervousness or deceit. But more than theory, it's his practice of silence that sets him apart. Unlike the alpha, who asserts dominance, or the beta, who seeks validation, the Sigma doesn't interrupt or flirt back for the sake of reciprocation. He simply listens. His silence isn't passive, it's investigative. In that space, people reveal themselves. Women especially are used to being pursued. But with the Sigma, there's no immediate feedback loop. That void forces truth to surface. The Sigma understands that attraction lives in the details. Tone shifts, body orientation, and the difference between what she says and what her body does when she says it. These are not guesses. They're patterns. He reads them like a detective solving a mystery, and each interaction becomes another case file. The reason? Control isn't his goal. Clarity is. That's why women find him mysteriously attractive. He's the mirror that reflects not what they want to be, but what they are. And while others mistake this for detachment, it's actually hyper-engagement, just not in a way they expect. In a world that values volume, the Sigma thrives in quiet. He sees without staring, hears without responding, and knows without needing proof. This isn't just charm, it's skill. The Sigma doesn't chase the woman, he reads the woman, and in doing so, he sees what most will never notice. Number one, emotional detachment equals sign clarity. Where most men get emotionally clouded by beauty, charm, or flirtation, the Sigma male remains grounded. This isn't because he lacks emotion or is immune to attraction, but because he has trained himself to stay centered, even in the face of intense temptation. Emotional detachment in this context is not a sign of coldness or apathy, it's a mark of inner discipline and clarity. The Sigma male understands that beauty, while captivating, can also be deceptive. Evolutionary psychology tells us that men are naturally wired to be visually stimulated. It's part of our biological programming. But the Sigma has gone a step beyond biology. He has overridden instinct with awareness. He knows that charm can be a mask, flirtation a tactic, and affection a tool. While others are enchanted by the illusion, he analyzes the intention. His ability to stay emotionally neutral allows him to read between the lines, to catch inconsistencies in behavior, and to sense hidden motives. Women may find him intriguing because he doesn't react like other men. He's not desperate for validation or desperate to please. That makes his attention rare and therefore more valuable. He sees through the social games because he doesn't participate in them. This clarity gives him an almost eerie sense of intuition, like he can detect manipulation before it even begins. In a world that praises immediate gratification and emotional indulgence, the Sigma male chooses emotional sovereignty. He doesn't suppress his emotions, he simply doesn't let them rule his decisions. Instead of being pulled into a whirlwind of seduction or emotional highs and lows, he stays in control of his energy. This doesn't mean he's heartless. It means his heart follows his mind, not the other way around. It's why he often comes across as mysterious or unreadable. He's not reacting, he's observing. And in that space of observation, he gathers truth. Not the surface-level version most people see, but the deeper reality that only reveals itself to those who aren't distracted by appearance. While the world tries to seduce him with illusions, The Sigma male remains awake, present, and unshaken. Number 2, micro-expression decoder. He's trained himself to notice what most people overlook, not the words she says, but the subtle, involuntary cues she doesn't even know she's giving off. The twitch of an eyebrow when a subject strikes a nerve, the way her pupils dilate when she's genuinely interested, or how they constrict when she feels judged. The split-second pause before she laughs reveals that the amusement wasn't real, just polite. The minor pullback of her body when a topic grazes past her boundaries, so quick, so subtle, most would miss it. But not the Sigma. He's not watching to be impressed, he's observing to understand. While others are swept away by smiles and stories, the Sigma male is already building a mental map of her emotional landscape. He knows that 93% of communication is nonverbal, body language, tone, and micro-expressions, and he's studied them like a language only he speaks fluently. What she doesn't say often reveals more than what she does. Trained in quiet observation and forged by solitude, he's not distracted by trying to charm her. Instead, he's psychologically profiling her based on the little things she can't control: how often she touches her hair when nervous, how her voice lifts slightly when unsure, and how she subtly leans away when she feels threatened or uncomfortable. Each reaction becomes a data point in his silent analysis. He's not trying to manipulate her, he's just seeking the truth beneath the performance. And while she's working hard to present her best self, unaware of the signals she's leaking, he's already 3 steps ahead. In a world full of noise, the Sigma has learned to find meaning in the quiet, the unsaid, the unseen. His strength isn't dominance or bravado, it's precision. He reads people like a forensic psychologist, reads a case file, always watching, always processing, and that's what unnerves people the most. You don't feel watched by him. You feel seen, understood in ways you can't articulate, because to the Sigma, true intelligence isn't loud or flashy. It's quiet, observant, and surgical. While the world is busy listening to words, he's deciphering the language of the soul. Number 3, pattern recognition machine. Every woman has tells, subtle signals, often unconscious, that reveal more truth than the words she speaks. Habits, micro-expressions, shifts in tone. What most people overlook is that the Sigma male registers with precision. He's not just listening, he's decoding. While others get swept away by charming smiles and rehearsed lines, the Sigma is studying the pattern beneath the performance. When she lies, her eye contact falters just a beat too long. When she's under pressure, the details of her stories subtly shift. Dates rearrange, names blur, and her tone becomes more defensive. These inconsistencies don't go unnoticed. The Sigma catches them and files them away like a mental detective, cataloging behavior over time. He knows that truth doesn't just live in what someone says, but in how they say it, and more importantly, what they don't say. This kind of analysis isn't magic, it's grounded in psychology. Research shows that liars tend to provide less detail, speak with more hesitation, and display more self-soothing gestures like touching the neck or fidgeting. The Sigma uses this knowledge almost instinctively. He understands that a genuine laugh resonates differently than a performative one. It's more spontaneous, less polished, and often wrinkles the eyes in a way that fake laughter never quite does. Over time, he builds a behavioral database. He cross-references conversations, tracks emotional baselines, and identifies deviations. He doesn't interrogate or challenge. He simply watches quietly, patiently, like a chess player who sees 10 moves ahead. And because he's emotionally detached and unaffected by the need to impress or be liked, his perception is razor-sharp. Women may not even realize how much they're revealing until it's too late. The Sigma male doesn't use this insight manipulatively, at least not always. For him, knowledge is power and awareness is protection. It's not about control, it's about clarity. In a world where deception is often wrapped in flattery and charm, the Sigma prefers data over drama. He doesn't need loud confrontations or dramatic exposés. All he needs is observation. One raised eyebrow, one inconsistent statement, one fake smile. That's enough. While others are dazzled, he's decoding. And when the truth finally emerges, the Sigma male is already 10 steps ahead because he's been watching it all unfold from the very beginning. Number 4, silence as a strategy. When she asks him a question and he pauses before answering, most people might misinterpret that silence as hesitation or uncertainty. But for the Sigma male, that pause is deliberate. It's not hesitation, it's power. In a world addicted to noise, chatter, and instant responses, his silence is jarring. It disrupts the rhythm of the usual social script, creating a subtle tension that exposes what lies beneath the surface. Silence, used intentionally, becomes a psychological tool. Research in communication psychology shows that humans have a deep discomfort with prolonged silence during conversation. It's known as the 4-second rule. After 4 seconds of silence, people instinctively rush to fill the void, and that's where the Sigma thrives. He understands that in that discomfort, the truth tends to slip out. People ramble, over-explain, or reveal what they never intended to. He uses this phenomenon like a scalpel, precise, clean, and efficient. He's not trying to dominate the moment with volume or verbosity. Instead, he lets the silence do the talking for him. It's not emptiness, it's extraction. His stillness draws things out from others that would never emerge in the noise. This is a form of social intelligence rarely understood. Unlike the alpha, who commands attention with charisma and boldness, or the beta, who seeks validation through compliance, the Sigma masters the space between words. His measured response says, "I'm not reacting, I'm assessing." It signals depth, control, and unshakable confidence. And for the person sitting across from him, that silence can feel like a mirror, reflecting their own thoughts, insecurities, and truths back at them. He knows that words are only one layer of communication. Pauses, eye contact, and unspoken presence often speak louder. The Sigma doesn't rush to fill silence because he knows its value. In a society that rewards speed, he moves slowly. In conversations that chase approval, he seeks authenticity, and in moments when everyone else talks, he listens. Not because he lacks something to say, but because he knows exactly what he's doing. That pause isn't a stumble, it's a strategy. And in that pause, he doesn't just answer the question, he reveals everything. Number 5, feminine psychology expert. He doesn't memorize pickup lines because he doesn't need to. The Sigma male operates on a completely different frequency. Instead of playing surface-level games or rehearsing clever one-liners, he studies the deeper architecture of female psychology. He understands the subtle forces that shape female attraction: hypergamy, the unconscious drive to seek the highest value mate; attention addiction, the modern craving for constant validation fed by social media; emotional oscillation, the natural rhythm of highs and lows that govern a woman's emotional world; and validation loops, the repetitive cycle where praise becomes a form of currency. The Sigma doesn't judge or moralize these traits, he simply observes and decodes them. While most men are busy reacting to female behavior, the Sigma watches it unfold like a seasoned meteorologist watches cloud patterns before a storm. He doesn't try to control her nature, argue with it, or resist it. He reads it, understands it, and adapts accordingly. That's what makes him so unpredictable. He's not tethered to ego battles or trying to prove his worth. He doesn't fall for the traps that others do, over-investing emotionally, overreacting to tests, or chasing fleeting attention. He knows that trying to win a woman's affection through performance is a losing game. Instead, he moves with quiet confidence, creating a sense of mystery and emotional independence that women find irresistibly magnetic. His calm detachment isn't coldness, it's power. He understands that female psychology is shaped by both evolutionary biology and modern cultural programming, and rather than resent this, he uses it to make smarter choices, not just in dating, but in all relationships. This level of self-mastery makes the Sigma male different. While others play checkers on the dating field, he's playing 4D chess. He doesn't fight the game, he understands the rules better than anyone else and then chooses when, how, or if he even wants to play. That's why women can't figure him out. He isn't caught in the loop of chasing or people-pleasing. He's the rare type who studies her emotional currents not to manipulate, but to navigate with clarity. And in a world where most men are lost in confusion, a man who understands female psychology like a system of interconnected codes becomes a force of nature, untouchable, unbothered, and unforgettable. Number 6, intuition sharpened by isolation. Solitude isn't just a comfort zone for the Sigma male, it's his personal laboratory for growth and mastery. While the world rushes on with constant noise, chatter, and shallow distractions, the Sigma male steps back into stillness not because he's antisocial, but because he understands that clarity is found in silence. During this solitude, his mind doesn't idle, it sharpens. He replays past conversations like a seasoned detective revisiting a case, noticing the micro-expressions, the subtle shifts in tone, and the contradictions others missed. Every moment is analyzed, not out of paranoia, but out of a relentless desire to understand human behavior at a deeper level. This habit isn't just a quirk, it's rooted in neuroscience. Studies show that during periods of solitude and reflection, the brain's default mode network becomes highly active. This network is responsible for internal processing, memory recall, and developing future strategies. So, while others may label solitude as doing nothing, the Sigma male is actually engaging in some of the brain's most sophisticated work. Over time, this internal discipline becomes a superpower. His intuition is no longer vague guesswork. It becomes a honed blade, forged by repetition and insight. He begins to anticipate others' actions, read between the lines of their words, and sense motivations hidden beneath polite smiles. While the average person walks through life reacting, the Sigma male moves with intentional awareness. He doesn't just hear what people say, he hears what they really mean. This ability often surprises others. He's quiet, but not because he lacks thoughts. He's quiet because he's busy observing, understanding, and calculating. Solitude becomes his dojo, where he trains not his fists, but his mind. When he re-emerges into society, he's more than just prepared, he's calibrated. People mistake his stillness for detachment, but in truth, he's the most aware person in the room. In a world where most walk blindfolded by emotion or ego, the Sigma walks with a silent vision, refined by his time alone. And number 7, he tests subtly. The Sigma doesn't confront, he observes by testing. Unlike the Alpha, who might boldly challenge, or the Beta, who seeks harmony, the Sigma plays a different game altogether, one rooted in quiet observation and psychological precision. He doesn't need to argue or raise his voice. Instead, he introduces subtle variables into the dynamic, like a seasoned chess master baiting an opponent into checkmate without them realizing they're being played. He might delay a response to see how she reacts to silence. He may offer a version of a story he already knows the truth about, just to watch for inconsistencies. A sudden shift in energy, a flicker in her eyes, a change in tone. These are the tells he's reading, like lines in a novel. This method is deeply rooted in behavioral psychology. Research shows that micro-expressions, those fleeting facial cues that last less than a second, often reveal more than words ever could. The Sigma picks up on these signs with ease, decoding her reactions not to manipulate, but to understand her truth. He tests her not out of malice, but out of necessity, because trust for a Sigma is earned through action, not charm. And that's what makes him so dangerous in a game most don't even know they're playing. She never realizes she's already lost, not because he was aggressive, but because he never revealed his strategy. While others are busy talking, impressing, or chasing validation, the Sigma moves in silence, making mental notes, drawing patterns, and observing reactions. And by the time the truth is clear, by the time the mask slips, he's already made his move. It wasn't loud, it wasn't obvious, but it was checkmate. And she'll never forget how it felt to lose a game she didn't know she was in. Number 8. Detached curiosity. He's not reading her to manipulate, he's reading her to understand. There's a fundamental difference, and women can feel it in their bones. The Sigma male isn't driven by charm or tactics to win affection. He's motivated by a genuine curiosity about human nature. Like a behavioral scientist in a black hoodie, he watches patterns, subtle shifts in tone, micro-expressions, and gestures that most miss entirely. He doesn't interrupt. He doesn't impress. He observes, he decodes. And in doing so, he sees what others don't. Her fears beneath the laughter, her hesitation behind the boldness, and her stories written in silences. To him, she isn't a puzzle to solve or a conquest to chase. She's a complex, evolving system sending out signals, and he tunes into her frequency like a skilled radio operator listening for meaning in static. This is why women react differently around Sigma males. Neurologically speaking, we're wired to notice who pays attention, not just to what we say, but to how we say it. According to psychology, this level of emotional attunement, often called interpersonal accuracy, creates a sense of psychological safety, something women deeply crave but rarely find. It's why they can't explain what makes him different. They just know he sees them, and not in a way that invades or consumes, but in a way that acknowledges respectfully, intuitively. It's not seduction, it's perception. The Sigma male doesn't exploit what he sees, he simply honors it by responding authentically. He's a tactician of human behavior, yes, but not for gain. For insight, that kind of presence, that kind of depth is magnetic because it's rare. And in a world where most people are shouting to be noticed, the man who listens deeply, really listens, becomes unforgettable. This is the Sigma's mind, calculated, calm, and unshakably self-contained. He isn't emotionally reactive, nor does he feel the need to prove himself. His strength lies in his ability to rather than react. While others talk, he listens. While others chase validation, he chases refinement. Every conversation, every glance, and even every silence is information, clues that feed his mental model of the world. He is, in a sense, a behavioral scientist operating in plain sight. Unlike the alpha who dominates or the beta who conforms, the Sigma carves his own path through introspection, learning, and adaptability. Psychology backs this up. People with high emotional intelligence and self-awareness tend to make more strategic life choices, and Sigma males embody this principle. Their solitude isn't loneliness, it's transformation. They learn in private, adapt in silence, and return sharper. Women are intrigued by this energy, not because he flatters or flaunts, but because he sees them without trying to own them. It's not manipulation, it's perception. He is a mirror reflecting authenticity, yet never revealing all of himself. The Sigma male doesn't seek fame, he seeks freedom. His legacy isn't in how loud he was, but in how precise, how intentional, and how unshakably true to himself he remained. He doesn't need a degree in psychology, a million followers, or flashy cars, but somehow he always wins. Why does the street-smart Sigma male succeed in situations where even the most educated fail? Because while others play checkers, the Sigma plays 4D chess with life. Today we're diving deep into why street-smart Sigma males have the ultimate advantage. Not just because of what they know, but how they move. The Sigma male isn't powered by textbooks or elite mentorship programs. His strength lies in lived experience, raw instinct, and observation. He thrives in the real world, where people reveal their true nature through subtle cues and social games. While others rely on titles and theory, he watches body language, tone, timing, and intention. It's psychological warfare, and the Sigma is a master tactician. He's not loud. He doesn't need a crowd. Instead, he moves with calculated silence. Street smarts give him the upper hand because they teach what formal education often ignores: how to read people, how to survive chaos, and how to adapt fast. Research from Harvard Business Review even confirms that emotional intelligence and adaptive thinking, skills often forged in real-world pressure, outperform IQ in leadership and influence. What makes it even more dangerous? The Sigma doesn't just know how to survive, he knows how to thrive without validation. While alpha males may dominate the spotlight, Sigmas move in the shadows, building empires, mastering themselves, and watching everyone else play predictable roles. He's the one who walks into a room and instantly assesses the social hierarchy, not to join it, but to bypass it. While others follow rules, the Sigma studies patterns, and when others chase trends, he quietly becomes the trend. In a world obsessed with status, flash, and followers, the Sigma's edge is simple: self-awareness, adaptability, and ruthless independence. That's why he wins. Because he's not playing the same game as everyone else. He designed his own. Number one, the Sigma mentality. Born to outsmart the game, Sigmas. Let's get real. You don't just survive the game of life. You flip the board, walk away, and still come out on top. You're not waiting for permission. You're not begging for applause. While others are chasing corporate titles or trying to impress with rented lifestyles, you're collecting real-world experience, reading human behavior like psychology majors wish they could, and spotting patterns that most people miss. What sets street-smart Sigmas apart is simple: real-life education. This isn't something you can get from a university. It's earned through long nights, hard knocks, and high-stakes lessons. While some learn in lecture halls, you learn in life's pressure cookers, whether it's dodging manipulation in a toxic relationship, staying cool under a shady boss, or navigating chaos with quiet precision. Street-smart intelligence is a blend of emotional awareness, quick decision-making, and gut-level instinct. According to Harvard psychologist Howard Gardner, this aligns with interpersonal intelligence, the ability to read and react to people effectively. Sigmas don't just have this, they weaponize it. And here's the kicker: your biggest advantage is your invisibility. You're not flashy, you're not loud. That's the point. You blend in, move in silence, and never announce your next move. By the time they realize your impact, it's already done. Game over. Checkmate. This makes people underestimate you, and that's your superpower. Sigmas know that attention is a currency and they choose to spend it wisely. They don't need the spotlight to prove their worth. Their results speak for themselves. Think of Jason Bourne, not James Bond. Tactical, calculated, underestimated until it's too late. So if you're a Sigma navigating this chaotic world, remember this. The world may praise noise, but it respects results. Let others play for show. You play for keeps. And that, right there, is why you always win. Number 2, emotional intelligence. Book smarts. You ever walk into a room and instantly feel who's lying, who's desperate, and who's fake smiling? That's not paranoia, it's your sixth sense, Sigma. And no, you weren't trained in some secret government lab. You earned that intuition the hard way, through sleepless nights, broken trust, hard-won victories, and losses that hit like a freight train. While others are busy memorizing protocols, you were out there learning the streets. They rely on a syllabus, you rely on scars. You don't need someone's credentials to know their character, you sense it. That tension in someone's handshake, the twitch in their eye, the forced laugh, they're like blinking neon signs to you. Science backs you up too. Studies show that the human brain processes non-verbal cues in milliseconds, faster than we even realize. And people who have experienced trauma, instability, or high-stakes environments often develop heightened situational awareness as a survival mechanism. That's you, Sigma. Your intuition isn't a mystery, it's a finely tuned radar born out of necessity. You're not impressed by big words, job titles, or flashy suits. You've seen polished liars and humble geniuses. You've learned the difference between charisma and manipulation. While most people scan a resume, you scan the room, and you know exactly who's for real and who's playing a role. In today's hyper-digital world, where everyone wears filters, online and in real life, that kind of insight is a rare and powerful gift. It's like walking into a virtual reality game, knowing the cheat codes. While others are fooled by appearances, you see intentions, you feel energy, you decode body language without even trying. So the next time someone calls you too intense or too quiet, smile. Because you're not just watching, you're calculating. That sixth sense isn't weird, it's wisdom. And in this loud, distracted world, being able to see through the noise, that's your edge. That's your superpower. Number 3, adaptability is a street-smart Sigma's weapon. A storm doesn't scare you because you the storm. When chaos hits, most people freeze, complain, or collapse, but not the Sigma male. While the world panics, the Sigma pivots. He doesn't just weather the storm, he recalibrates his path and charges forward with sharper instincts. That's the power of adaptability. And it's one of the Sigma's deadliest advantages. You see, Sigma males are not trained to memorize solutions. They're trained to solve problems. This mindset often begins in childhood. Instead of being spoon-fed answers, many Sigmas learn to think independently, to observe quietly, and to adapt through trial and error. They develop mental agility, emotional control, and strategic thinking by navigating real-life pressure, not textbook hypotheticals. That's why when life throws lemons, a Sigma doesn't just make lemonade. He opens a lemonade stand and then buys out the entire lemon farm. Adversity becomes opportunity. According to a psychological study published in the Individuals with High Resilience, like many Sigma males, are more likely to experience post-traumatic growth. That means they don't just bounce back, they bounce forward, becoming stronger and more capable with every setback. While others complain about roadblocks, Sigmas build new roads. They don't waste time playing the victim, they evolve. Reinvention isn't a last resort, it's their natural response. This is why so many Sigmas quietly dominate in business, leadership, and innovation. They aren't the loudest in the room, but they are often the most effective. So the next time chaos erupts and the average person is scrambling for cover, notice the Sigma. He's already 2 steps ahead, scanning the battlefield, forming a plan, and preparing to win. Not in spite of the storm, but of it. Because a Sigma doesn't fear the chaos, he it. Number 4, silence equals sign strategy. You know what truly terrifies people? A man who listens more than he speaks. That man is the Sigma. In a world obsessed with noise, where everyone rushes to post, talk, argue, and broadcast every opinion, there exists a rare breed who moves in silence. While others overshare, oversell, and overexplain, the Sigma male sits back and watches. He listens, not just with his ears, but with intent. He catches what others miss, the slip-ups, the contradictions, the patterns in human behavior, and that's his superpower. You see, silence is not weakness, it's strategy. Psychological research shows that people who speak less in conversations are often perceived as more intelligent, more mysterious, and even more powerful. This isn't just anecdotal. The silent observer effect is real. People are naturally drawn to the one who doesn't need to dominate the room but somehow still commands it. That's the Sigma's zone. Unlike alpha males who often crave the spotlight, Sigmas build empires in the shadows. They don't brag about their next move, they just make it. By the time people realize what the Sigma has been working on, it's already too late to catch up. Here's the twist. Street-smart Sigmas don't seek attention, they attract it. Why? Because mystery is magnetic. When a man isn't trying to impress you, you start wondering why. When he doesn't need to speak to prove his worth, people lean in to listen when he finally does. That aura of controlled detachment. It's not accidental, it's deliberate. Sigmas know that power isn't always loud. Sometimes it's silent, observant, and calculating. While everyone else is revealing their hand, chasing clout and shouting into the void, the Sigma is reading the room, planning 10 steps ahead, and quietly becoming unstoppable. And when he finally speaks, everyone listens, not because he forced them to, but because his silence made them curious. Number 5, master of human psychology without the degree. Forget 4 years of college. A Sigma male learns the human psyche not from textbooks, but from life's trenches. While others are memorizing theories in fluorescent-lit classrooms, the Sigma is out there observing real people in real situations. He's not studying sociology. He's surviving it. Every hard conversation, every awkward silence, every betrayal, those are his lessons. Over time, this kind of raw exposure sharpens one of the most underrated skills in the world, reading people. It starts with noticing the little things, how someone's pupils dilate when they're excited or how they touch their face when they're lying. These aren't just quirks, they're clues. And Sigma males become human lie detectors without even trying. Micro-expressions, those brief involuntary facial expressions that last only a fraction of a second, are a Sigma's cheat code. According to Dr. Paul Ekman, a psychologist who pioneered research in this area, these expressions reveal true emotions, fear, anger, joy, even when someone's trying to hide them. A Sigma doesn't just see a smile, he sees the tension behind it. He knows when you're bluffing confidence or hiding contempt. But here's the twist. A Sigma doesn't just manipulation, he flips it. If someone tries to use charm to sway him, he lets them talk, then redirects the conversation like a chess master setting a trap. He's not reactive, he's strategic. He understands what people want. Validation, power, approval. And he sidesteps it all. Most people rely on words, but Sigma males speak a far more powerful language, body language. Research shows that over 70% of communication is nonverbal. While others are distracted by what's said, the Sigma pays attention to how it's said, eye contact, posture, gestures. He knows confidence when he sees it, and he sees insecurity wrapped in fake bravado from a mile away. In short, Sigma males don't just understand human nature, they outmaneuver it. Number 6, independence makes you untouchable. When you're street smart and Sigma, dependence is just another word that doesn't belong in your dictionary. You don't wait for someone to give you direction, you create your own map. That's because Sigma males thrive on self-leadership. They're independent thinkers who trust their instincts more than societal scripts. While the world pushes people to follow trends, follow influencers, and follow the crowd, Sigmas lead themselves, no crowd necessary. Street smarts, unlike book smarts, are forged in the fire of experience. It's not about what you learned in a classroom, it's about what you learned when life threw you in the deep end without a float. Street smart Sigmas understand human nature, read the room like a novel, and know when to walk away. No drama, no second guessing. Here's what really sets them apart. Their non-attachment. A Sigma male can walk away from a toxic job without flinching, cut off a fake friend without guilt, and even step away from love if it means sacrificing who he is. That level of clarity, that's intimidating to many. Most people stay in places that drain them just to feel accepted. Sigmas? They'd rather be alone and free than surrounded and fake. Psychologically speaking, this behavior aligns with what's called an internal locus of control, a belief that you control your own fate. Studies show that individuals with this mindset are more resilient, less anxious, and more successful in unpredictable environments, and that's why Sigma males stand out. They're not interested in playing roles, they're interested in being real. And when you combine that authenticity with street intelligence and emotional discipline, you don't need to be saved, fixed, or led. You the person others quietly look to when things fall apart. Number 7. You know how to play dumb. Here's a secret weapon most people overlook. The Sigma pretends not to know. He plays dumb so people underestimate him, and when the moment's right, boom, he strikes with precision. This is not just clever, it's strategic psychology at its finest. In the world of street smarts, knowledge isn't always about showing off, it's about knowing to reveal what you know. That's where the Sigma male thrives. He deliberately keeps his cards close to his chest. By pretending not to know, he gains the upper hand. People let their guard down, revealing more than they should, thinking they're the smartest person in the room. But they're not. The Sigma is silently mapping out everything. This tactic isn't just theory. It's rooted in real psychological principles. The concept of has been studied in behavioral science, showing how acting clueless in the right moment can lower expectations and reduce threats from others. It's a principle seen in everything from business negotiations to political power plays. And here's the kicker. Sigma males don't need applause or validation. While alpha males want to dominate and show strength loudly, Sigmas dominate by being underestimated until it's too late. Think of it like chess. The Sigma male sacrifices a pawn, not because he's weak, but because he sees 5 moves ahead. Street-smart Sigmas let others get comfortable. Then, just when the room thinks they've got him figured out, he rearranges the whole game. He doesn't need to speak the loudest, he just makes the smartest move. So next time someone seems a little too quiet, a little too clueless, be careful. You might just be sitting across from a Sigma male, calculating, silent, and about to flip the script. Number 8, street smarts, equal sign. Action-oriented intelligence. Book smarts can teach you what should work. Street smarts teach you what does work. This line captures the essence of the Sigma mindset. Being book smart means you've studied the theories, read the manuals, and aced the tests. But being street smart, that means you've been in the trenches, you've lived it, felt it, and learned through real-world trial and error. Sigma males thrive on street smarts. They don't just know the rules, they know when to break them, and more importantly, how to rewrite them. While academics might debate what happened in a perfect system, Sigmas are already 5 steps ahead, adapting to what happens in an imperfect world. Take entrepreneurship, for example. Business schools teach models like SWOT analysis and market segmentation, all useful. But Sigma males, they launch, they fail, they pivot, they learn by doing. They understand that success isn't found in a PowerPoint, it's earned in the hustle. Sigmas don't theorize success, they create it. They don't wait for perfect conditions, they act, adjust, and adapt. When others are busy waiting for permission, Sigmas are already executing Plan B because Plan A didn't quite cut it. And that's okay. Every mistake becomes a lesson, every failure a future asset. This isn't just optimism, it's strategy. Psychologists call this a growth mindset, and it's linked to higher resilience, better problem solving, and long-term success. While others are reading the rule book, the Sigma is rewriting it. Because in a world that's constantly changing, the ability to adapt, think independently, and act boldly isn't just an advantage, it's a superpower. And that's the Sigma edge. Less talk, more doing, less theory, more mastery. Number 9, survival has sharpened you. Let's not sugarcoat it. Life threw you into the deep end, but you didn't sink. You grew gills. A street-smart Sigma male is forged, not born. You've been broke when your pockets echoed louder than your thoughts. You've been betrayed by people you would have taken a bullet for. You've been broken by setbacks that would have crushed most men. But the difference, you weren't built to break. You were built to bend, adapt, and come back smarter. You turned pain into power. Those sleepless nights and silent battles rewired your instincts. You stopped chasing comfort and started chasing clarity. You stopped waiting for someone to save you and realized you were the one you'd been waiting for all along. Street smarts aren't learned from textbooks. They're carved into your character through experience. Psychology tells us that emotional resilience, the ability to bounce back from adversity, is one of the greatest indicators of long-term success. And Sigma males master this by necessity, not because they want to be tough, but because life gave them no other option. Your scar tissue? That's not just for show, it's armor. Every loss taught you strategy. Every betrayal sharpened your intuition. Every failure gave you the grit that polished your inner diamond. You've walked through fire and didn't just survive, you studied the flames. While others read theories, you lived the lesson. You learned how to read people without a word being spoken, how to predict outcomes without needing a spreadsheet, how to spot manipulation from a mile away. Sigma males like you don't flaunt resilience, they embody it. You're not street smart because it's trendy. You're street smart because the streets were your classroom and pain was your professor. And now you don't fear the storm, you are the storm. Number 10, the ultimate advantage, unpredictability. People fear what they can't predict, and Sigma, you are the definition of unpredictable. No pattern, no formula. One day you're silent, the next day you're unstoppable. It's not chaos, it's calculated mystery. Studies in social psychology show that unpredictability triggers both curiosity and anxiety in others. Why? Because the human brain craves patterns. When it can't decode your next move, it panics. You don't chase power. Power finds you because your independence, detachment, and self-mastery command respect. That's the Sigma edge. You move in silence, strike with precision, and walk away before they even know what hit them. That's the street smart advantage. Sigmas, here's what you need to remember. It's not about where you were born or what school you went to. It's about how you think, how you move, and how you refuse to be boxed in. Street smarts make you resilient. Sigma mentality makes you unstoppable. And when those two forces combine, that's not just an advantage, that's a revolution. So whether you grew up on concrete chaos or cold silence, never doubt this. Your experience is your superpower. You weren't made for the sidelines. You were built to own the game. Sigmas, if this resonated with you, smash that like button, subscribe, and become a part of this movement. Because the world needs more men who think differently, move silently, and dominate loudly. Stay true and stay Sigma. Welcome, Sigmas. It's no secret that women are naturally drawn to men who can elevate their lives and provide security. Women seek partners who satisfy their emotional and physical needs, making them feel cherished and valued. This allows them to truly flourish without having to carry the same burdens alone. On the other hand, men are intrigued by women who are both ambitious and driven, traits that add excitement and depth to a relationship. It's like merging two powerful energies, the nurturing power of the feminine and the dynamic force of a go-getter spirit. But here's the catch. What if you could find a woman who combines both? A woman who's as nurturing as she is driven. That's the dream, isn't it? Enter the Sigma male, a man who doesn't seek the spotlight, but commands respect effortlessly. He doesn't chase or try to impress because his confidence is genuine and calm. Studies show that women are biologically programmed to be drawn to this steady presence, a man who provides emotional safety without being overbearing. This isn't just about biology, it's about the magnetic appeal of mystery and independence. Sigma males possess a quiet yet undeniable charm that makes women feel both safe and excited. Their laid-back demeanor masks a powerful drive and ambition, making them irresistible to women who crave both security and adventure. So let's dive into the 8 compelling reasons why women can't help but fall in love with Sigma males, and discover how this unique energy creates relationships that are deeply fulfilling and transformative. Number 1, the enigmatic aura. Sigma males exude a mysterious charm that's hard to ignore. Their reserved nature and introspective demeanor create an aura of intrigue, making others curious to learn more about them. Unlike the typical alpha or beta male archetypes, Sigma males carve their own path. They're fiercely independent, often preferring to navigate life on their terms rather than conform to societal expectations. So what exactly makes Sigma males so captivating? For starters, their quiet confidence speaks volumes. They don't feel the need to boast or draw attention to themselves. Instead, their authenticity and self-assuredness shine through in their actions. This subtle magnetism can be more alluring than overt displays of dominance. It's like watching a lone wolf move with purpose through a forest, calm, focused, and untamed. Psychologically, people are naturally drawn to mystery. Studies in social psychology suggest that we're wired to be intrigued by individuals who reveal only glimpses of themselves. It creates a sense of allure because we want to solve the puzzle, to understand what lies beneath the surface. Sigma males embody this perfectly. They often share their thoughts selectively, leaving people hanging on every word, wondering what's really going on in that enigmatic mind. Moreover, Sigma males are typically highly self-aware and introspective. They're the type to spend hours reflecting on their goals, values, and purpose. This inward focus often makes them wise beyond their years. They're less likely to be swept up in fleeting trends or shallow pursuits, and more likely to engage in meaningful conversations that challenge conventional thinking. From an evolutionary standpoint, this behavior can be seen as a signal of strength. In hunter-gatherer societies, those who were self-reliant and could thrive without constant validation were respected. Today, Sigma males carry that same air of self-reliance, commanding respect without demanding it. Their understated charisma extends beyond the realm of social interactions. Sigma males are often driven by a sense of purpose rather than a desire to impress. This authenticity is rare and deeply attractive. It's why they seem to leave a lasting impression on everyone they meet. So the next time you encounter a Sigma male, pay attention to the quiet intensity in his eyes and the calm strength in his demeanor. You might just find yourself drawn in by that magnetic pull, curious to uncover the depths of his mysterious soul. Number 2, intellectual depth. Beyond their quiet exterior lies a mind that's rich with thoughts and ideas. Sigma males are often misunderstood as loners or emotionally distant, but the truth is far more fascinating. These men possess an intellectual depth that fuels their inner world, making them masters of deep thinking and stimulating conversation. Unlike the stereotypical alpha male who may thrive on being the center of attention, Sigma males operate on a different frequency. They don't feel the need to dominate social settings or seek validation from the crowd. Instead, their power lies in their contemplative nature, constantly observing, analyzing, and reflecting. This introspective approach allows them to develop complex ideas and a unique perspective on life. When Sigma males do engage in conversation, it's never surface-level small talk. They tend to dive into meaningful topics, often challenging conventional wisdom or exploring abstract concepts. Their discussions are like mental workouts, sparking curiosity and encouraging others to think deeper. Whether it's philosophy, science, culture, or personal growth, Sigma males bring a rich intellectual energy that captivates those lucky enough to engage with them. One fascinating trait of Sigma males is their ability to listen attentively. They don't just wait for their turn to speak. They genuinely absorb what others say, processing information carefully before responding. This skill makes their input valuable and often surprising because it's well thought out, rather than impulsive. This quality also creates a sense of respect and trust as people feel genuinely heard and understood. Research on personality traits offers some insight into why Sigma males exhibit this behavior. They often score high in introversion and openness to experience. Introversion explains their preference for solitary reflection, while openness relates to their curiosity and appreciation for new ideas and experiences. This combination fosters creativity and intellectual growth, making Sigma males natural philosophers, innovators, or visionaries in various fields. In social dynamics, their preference for quality over quantity in relationships means their conversations tend to be rich and meaningful rather than frequent or superficial. This makes Sigma males rare gems in a world often dominated by noise and distraction. So while they might not be the loudest voice in the room, Sigma males hold a treasure trove of ideas beneath their calm exterior, a quiet storm of intellect waiting to inspire, challenge, and transform. Number 3, authentic independence. Sigma males are often described as the lone wolves of the social hierarchy, but this label doesn't quite capture the full picture. At the core of what defines a Sigma male is their deep value for autonomy, the freedom to live life on their own terms without feeling tethered to societal expectations or social norms. This trait of self-reliance is not merely about enjoying solitude, it's about a profound confidence and inner assurance that sets them apart in any crowd. Unlike alpha males, who often seek leadership roles and social dominance, Sigma males prefer to operate independently. They don't crave validation or status from others because their self-worth is internally sourced. This means they can thrive whether they're in a group or completely alone. Research in social psychology highlights that this type of intrinsic motivation, where individuals find satisfaction from within rather than external rewards, is linked to greater emotional resilience and well-being. One fascinating fact about Sigma males is their ability to navigate social situations without conforming to group pressures. They are often observant and highly perceptive, preferring to analyze before engaging. This selective interaction stems from their desire to maintain autonomy rather than be swept up in social dynamics. that don't align with their personal values or goals. This makes them appear mysterious or enigmatic, qualities that naturally draw people's curiosity and admiration. Another interesting point is how their self-assuredness can be incredibly attractive. Confidence that isn't loud or boastful but quietly steady tends to inspire trust and respect. This is backed by psychological studies showing that people are generally drawn to individuals who display authentic confidence. Confidence rooted in self-acceptance rather than arrogance or aggression. Sigma males embody this by knowing who they are, what they want, and not feeling the need to broadcast it to the world. Moreover, Sigma males tend to develop a wide range of skills to sustain their independence, from problem-solving and creativity to emotional intelligence. They often become masters of adaptability, able to handle unexpected challenges without panic, because they rely on their internal compass rather than external guidance. In summary, Sigma males' self-reliance is much more than enjoying solitude. It's a rich blend of autonomy, confidence, and emotional intelligence. This unique combination not only empowers them to live authentically, but also makes them magnetic to others, who sense the strength in their quiet independence. Number 4, emotional stability. In a world where emotional turbulence seems to be the norm, Sigma males often stand apart due to their remarkable calmness and composed nature. This steady demeanor is not just a personality quirk. It's a defining trait that impacts how they interact with the world and the people around them. But what exactly makes Sigma males so uniquely calm, and why does this quality matter so much? First, it helps to understand who Sigma males are. Unlike the stereotypical alpha male who seeks leadership and social dominance, Sigma males tend to operate outside the traditional social hierarchies. They are independent, self-reliant, and highly introspective. Because they don't rely heavily on external validation or social approval, Sigma males aren't easily rattled by social drama or emotional outbursts that might throw others off balance. One of the reasons Sigma males maintain such composure is their strong emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence, or EQ, refers to the ability to recognize, understand, and manage one's own emotions, as well as to empathize with others. Sigma males usually have a high EQ, which means they can navigate emotional situations with a cool head, making decisions based on logic rather than reactive feelings. This emotional stability provides a sense of security to those around them, as people naturally gravitate toward calm individuals in moments of crisis or uncertainty. Interestingly, research shows that people who remain calm under pressure are often seen as more trustworthy and competent. A study published in the Journal of Applied Psychology found that leaders who exhibit emotional calmness inspire greater confidence and loyalty among their followers. While Sigma males might not seek leadership roles, their quiet confidence has a similar effect. They become natural anchors in chaotic environments. Another key factor behind their calm nature is their preference for solitude and reflection. Sigma males tend to spend a lot of time alone, which allows them to recharge and process their thoughts without distraction. This introspective habit builds mental resilience and clarity, enabling them to face stress without succumbing to panic or anxiety. Finally, Sigma males' calmness also stems from a mindset focused on control over the self rather than control over others. Instead of trying to manipulate situations or people, they prioritize mastering their own emotions and responses. This approach reduces unnecessary conflicts and emotional upheaval, contributing to a peaceful and composed presence. In summary, the calm and composed nature of Sigma males is rooted in independence, high emotional intelligence, introspection, and self-mastery. Their ability to remain steady amidst emotional storms not only defines their character, but also makes them a source of stability and trustworthiness in an often chaotic world. Number 5, non-conformist attitude. Sigma males don't follow the crowd. Unlike traditional social archetypes such as alphas or betas, Sigma males carve their own path, often quietly, sometimes mysteriously, but always with purpose. What sets them apart is not just a preference for solitude, but a distinctive mindset that values independence, critical thinking, and authenticity above all else. First off, Sigma males are known for their unique perspectives. While most people tend to conform to social norms, following trends, joining popular groups, or seeking approval, Sigma males question these conventions. They aren't rebels just for the sake of rebellion, but because they genuinely analyze whether the rules make sense to them. This critical approach enables them to challenge societal norms intelligently rather than blindly. Interestingly, Sigma males often possess high emotional intelligence and self-awareness. Studies in psychology show that independent thinkers tend to develop strong intrapersonal skills, meaning they understand themselves deeply. This self-understanding leads to better decision-making and often creates a magnetic aura of confidence and calm. It's no wonder they are described as intriguing and refreshing companions. Their presence signals depth and a refusal to engage in meaningless social posturing. Moreover, Sigma males tend to be highly adaptable. Because they don't rely on traditional social hierarchies, they can navigate various environments without needing validation from others. Whether in a work setting, social group, or unfamiliar situation, Sigma males can observe, analyze, and act independently. This flexibility makes them excellent problem solvers and leaders in unconventional ways, often leading quietly from the background. Another fascinating aspect is that Sigma males value authenticity. They prefer genuine connections over superficial ones. They are not interested in small talk or playing social games, which can make their interactions feel more meaningful and intense. This authenticity attracts like-minded people who appreciate depth and substance. Sigma males also challenge the stereotype that leadership must be loud and dominant. Instead, they exemplify a more introverted style of leadership, leading through example, resilience, and wisdom, rather than charisma or force. This is supported by modern leadership research, emphasizing emotional intelligence and self-mastery as critical qualities in effective leaders. In summary, Sigma males offer a fresh alternative to traditional social roles. Their willingness to think independently, challenge norms, and value authenticity not only sets them apart, but also makes them deeply compelling. In a world that often rewards conformity, Sigma males remind us that sometimes the greatest strength lies in going your own way. Number 6, purpose-driven life. Sigma males are often characterized by a clear sense of purpose and strong personal goals, which fuel their drive and ambition. Unlike the traditional alpha male archetype, who may seek leadership through social dominance, Sigma males tend to pursue success on their own terms. This independent mindset allows them to focus deeply on personal growth and achievement without relying on external validation. Research in personality psychology shows that Sigma males often exhibit traits linked to high conscientiousness and openness to experience. Conscientiousness reflects a strong work ethic, discipline, and goal-oriented behavior, qualities that naturally align with ambition. Openness to experience fosters creativity and adaptability, helping Sigma males navigate challenges in unique ways. This combination makes their dedication to self-improvement both effective and inspiring. What sets Sigma males apart is their ability to remain motivated even when isolated. They don't need constant social interaction or approval to stay committed to their goals. This intrinsic motivation drives them to pursue long-term achievements, whether in career, hobbies, or personal development. Sigma males are also known for their strategic thinking. They plan meticulously and take calculated risks, which often leads to breakthroughs that others might miss. This methodical approach to ambition makes them stand out in competitive environments. Furthermore, their pursuit of personal growth is attractive because it's authentic. Instead of competing with others, Sigma males compete with themselves, striving to be better than they were yesterday. This self-driven ambition creates a magnetic aura, drawing respect and admiration from others. In summary, Sigma males embody ambition through purposeful independence, disciplined self-growth, and strategic thinking. Their journey is less about status and more about meaningful achievement, making their drive both educationally fascinating and genuinely inspiring. Number 7, respect for boundaries. Understanding and respecting personal space is a key trait that sets Sigma males apart. Unlike many who might seek constant social validation or invade others' boundaries, Sigma males have a natural awareness of the importance of space, both their own and others. This respect for personal boundaries is not just about physical distance. It extends to emotional and mental space as well. Psychologically, respecting personal space is crucial for healthy relationships. Studies show that when people feel their boundaries are honored, trust and comfort grow. Sigma males instinctively grasp this, which is why their relationships tend to be balanced and genuine. They avoid clinginess or overstepping limits, allowing interactions to flow naturally without pressure or intrusion. This trait also reflects emotional intelligence. Sigma males are attuned to social cues, understanding when to engage and when to step back. They don't feel the need to dominate conversations or situations, which makes others feel safe and respected around them. In a world where many struggle with boundaries, the Sigma male's approach creates healthier connections. Their balance of independence and respect fosters mutual understanding, making their relationships not only meaningful, but sustainable. Ultimately, this boundary-conscious mindset is a silent but powerful form of leadership. Number 8, subtle confidence. Unlike overt displays of bravado, Sigma males possess a quiet confidence that's both genuine and compelling. This type of confidence doesn't shout for attention, but instead radiates from within, creating an aura that naturally draws people in without effort. Sigma males are often described as lone wolves, not because they dislike social interaction, but because they don't feel the need to fit into traditional social hierarchies. Unlike alpha males, who might dominate a room with loud charisma and assertiveness, Sigma males quietly command respect through their calm and self-reliance. Their confidence is not about proving themselves to others, but about being fully comfortable in their own skin. This internal assurance stems from deep self-awareness and emotional intelligence. Studies in psychology suggest that people with high emotional intelligence tend to have better self-control, empathy, and resilience, traits Sigma males often exhibit. They don't seek external validation because they've already established a strong sense of self-worth internally. Moreover, their independence makes their confidence even more compelling. Sigma males typically prefer to carve their own path rather than follow established rules or trends. This independent mindset allows them to avoid the pressure to conform, which often leads to more authentic and grounded confidence. Their presence can be described as magnetic yet understated. When a Sigma male walks into a room, you don't necessarily notice him immediately, but once you do, his calm demeanor and assured posture speak volumes. This subtle power is why Sigma males often influence people and situations without trying to dominate or control. In essence, Sigma male confidence is a silent force. It's a blend of self-respect, emotional strength, and independence that makes their presence naturally commanding without the need for overt displays or validation. This quiet confidence is not only fascinating, but also a powerful reminder that true strength often lies in calm assurance rather than loud declarations. Sigmas, if you see these qualities in yourself or aspire to embody them, remember that embracing your unique path is a strength. Your authenticity and independence are not just admirable, they're magnetic. If you found value in this exploration, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to join our community. Let's continue to delve into the qualities that define the Sigma male and inspire impactful living. Stay true and stay Sigma. Greetings, Sigmas. Imagine walking into a room and the energy shifts, not because you spoke, but because your presence said everything. You don't need flashy words, fake smiles, or forced charm. You're calm, you're focused, you're untouchable, and that is power. What if I told you the real secret isn't doing more, but caring less? Not out of arrogance, but from alignment. Not from ego, but from inner peace. Welcome to the art of not giving a damn, how Sigma males attract without even trying. This isn't about rebellion, it's about freedom. Freedom from validation, freedom from noise, and freedom from the exhausting trap of trying to please everyone. Sigma males are lone wolves by nature, operating outside the traditional dominance hierarchy. While alpha males chase attention and beta males seek approval, Sigmas walk their own path. Psychologists have even coined this term to describe introverted, confident individuals who don't conform to social expectations. You attract without trying because you move with purpose, not performance. A study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that people who displayed calm assertiveness, like the Sigma archetype, were seen as more attractive and competent than those who tried too hard. And here's the kicker: when you don't chase, people wonder why. That mystery becomes magnetism. Your silence speaks louder than words. Your focus becomes contagious. And your emotional independence becomes rare in a world addicted to attention. So, no, you're not antisocial, you're selectively social. You don't hate people, you just value your peace more than meaningless interaction. If you've ever felt like you were born to move differently, to lead silently, and to stand out without saying a word, you're not weird, you're Sigma. Let's dive in. Point 1. The core philosophy, what not giving a damn actually means. Let's clear the air once and for all. Doesn't mean you're reckless, heartless, or cold. It simply means you've mastered the art of. You know where your energy goes, and more importantly, where it shouldn't. Sigma males live by this very principle. They don't waste their time worrying about things they can't control or people who don't matter. Instead, they invest their focus where it counts, on goals, growth, and inner peace. Think about it. Your attention is like currency. And if you're constantly throwing it at every opinion, drama, or distraction, you'll be emotionally broke before you know it. Sigma males guard their energy like a vault. They aren't interested in being people pleasers or chasing after trends for acceptance. They live by their, not society's, ever-shifting expectations. There's a huge difference between being indifferent and being intentional. Sigma males are highly intentional. They're not antisocial. They don't need the spotlight because their presence alone commands respect. They speak when there's something worth saying and act when action is needed. No noise, just quiet confidence. Need a real-world example? Enter Keanu Reeves. This man has become a cultural icon, not because he seeks attention, but because he doesn't. He's quiet, grounded, and mysteriously private. And yet people can't get enough of him. He's polite but not performative, humble but not insecure. That's Sigma energy in motion. Magnetic without effort, powerful without noise. Psychologically, this attitude reflects high emotional intelligence and a belief that you control your own life rather than being controlled by outside forces. According to psychology, those with a strong internal locus are generally more confident, motivated, and mentally resilient. So when a Sigma male doesn't give a damn, it's not about apathy, it's about clarity. He knows what deserves his attention and what doesn't. He chooses peace over popularity, substance over noise, and purpose over performance. That's not just cool, it's powerful. Point 2, silent confidence is irresistible. You know that guy who walks into a room and doesn't say a word, but somehow he's the most magnetic person there. That's Sigma in action. He doesn't need to tell you how great he is. You just feel it. Why? Because what you're witnessing is a trait rooted in self-assuredness, not arrogance. It's the calm, steady presence of someone who doesn't seek approval but earns respect without trying. Sigma males are often described as lone wolves. They're not outcasts, but independent thinkers who thrive outside traditional social hierarchies. Unlike alpha males who dominate by being loud and visible, Sigmas command attention by being grounded and self-contained. This is what makes their confidence so captivating. It doesn't scream, it whispers. Think of silent dominance like gravity. You can't see it, but you know it's there. It pulls people in naturally. Women in particular are often drawn to this type of energy because it signals emotional stability, depth, and mystery. Evolutionary psychology tells us that humans are wired to pick up on nonverbal cues. A Sigma's body language, relaxed shoulders, calm eye contact, composed movements, says everything without a word. Studies in social psychology show that nonverbal communication accounts for up to 93% of how we perceive others. This means that confidence, presence, and charisma aren't always in what you say, but in how you carry yourself. Sigma males have mastered this. They walk into a room in the spotlight, not by demanding attention, but by simply being present. Their vibe says, I don't need validation, I know who I am. That's powerful. This type of presence is not just magnetic, it's rare. In a world full of noise and attention-seeking behavior, the Sigma's quiet confidence stands out like a lighthouse in the fog. So next time you see someone quietly commanding a room, remember, that's not luck, that's Sigma. Point 3, the power of detachment. Here's the Sigma's secret weapon. Unlike most people who crave validation, Sigma males operate on a different frequency. They don't spend their energy trying to impress others, win approval, or fit into social molds. Why? Because they already know who they are. Their sense of identity isn't built on applause, It's rooted in self-awareness and independence. Detachment doesn't mean apathy or coldness. It means emotional discipline. Sigma males have mastered the ability to separate their self-worth from external validation. While the world obsesses over likes, followers, and viral fame, the Sigma male is quietly sipping his coffee, planning his next move, and building something meaningful without broadcasting it to the world. Psychologically, this behavior is backed by studies in human attraction and social dynamics. People are naturally drawn to mystery. The harder someone is to read or predict, the more others become intrigued. This is called the scarcity principle in behavioral psychology. When someone is emotionally unavailable or difficult to access, it creates a sense of value and allure. Sigma males embody this principle without even trying. Here's the ironic twist. By not seeking attention, they become the center of it. When a man is detached from public opinion, he becomes unpredictable. And unpredictability triggers curiosity. People want to decode what they don't understand. Sigma males, by keeping their emotions guarded and their moves silent, stir up a magnetic tension that naturally draws people in. This kind of detachment is powerful in relationships, business, and social settings. It prevents manipulation, fuels self-growth, and maintains emotional clarity. Sigma males don't fear rejection. They understand it's a part of the process. They don't chase people, they chase purpose. And that single-minded focus creates an irresistible energy. So while the world shouts for attention, Sigma males let silence speak. That's their secret weapon. Detachment isn't just cool, it's captivating. And that's why attention always ends up chasing them. Point 4. Embracing solitude like a badge of honor. You know what's rare in today's world? A man who's genuinely content being alone. In a society that constantly glorifies being social, loud, and always surrounded by people, the Sigma male is the quiet rebel. He doesn't need a crowd to feel important. He doesn't chase validation through parties, group chats, or being the center of attention. Instead, he thrives in solitude. That's his recharge zone, where he plans his next move, reflects on his growth, and becomes stronger mentally and emotionally. Psychologists call this trait positive solitude, and it's linked to increased creativity, better focus, and emotional resilience. While many people feel anxious when they're alone, Sigmas find power in it. Solitude for them isn't a punishment, it's a privilege. Now compare that with the alpha male. Alphas are wired to lead the group. Their energy is often fueled by dominance and control over a pack. But Sigmas, they don't need the pack. They build their own kingdom from scratch, on their terms, even if that means doing it alone. That independence isn't just a personality trait, it's a lifestyle, and women, they notice. There's something undeniably attractive about a man who's not needy, clingy, or constantly seeking approval. Self-sufficiency is rare, and rare is sexy. It signals confidence, maturity, and purpose. A Sigma doesn't chase. He attracts, often without saying a word. This isn't about being antisocial, it's about being selectively social. Sigma males choose depth over noise, clarity over chaos. They value meaningful connections but won't force relationships just to avoid being alone. Here's the truth. Solitude isn't loneliness. For a Sigma, it's liberation. It's the freedom to think, to create, and to grow without distraction. While the world rushes to fit in, Sigma males are quietly mastering the art of standing alone. And that's exactly what makes them stand out. Point 5. The mystery effect. Why less is more. The Sigma male knows the power of being an enigma. Unlike many who feel the need to broadcast every detail of their lives, the Sigma understands the strength in holding back. He doesn't overshare. He doesn't explain himself. He doesn't post every move on social media. And that deliberate silence drives people wild. But why does mystery have such a strong pull? It all boils down to human nature. Our brains are wired for curiosity. When we encounter something unpredictable or unreadable, it sparks a mental challenge. We want to solve the puzzle, to uncover what lies beneath the surface. That's why mystery is magnetic, because it activates our deepest desire to understand and discover. The Sigma male thrives in this space of mystery. He is unpredictable, and that keeps others on their toes. When people can't anticipate your next move, they become more engaged, more interested, and even a bit obsessed with trying to figure you out. Yet the truth is, no one really can. The Sigma carefully controls what he reveals, revealing just enough to be intriguing, but never so much that his essence becomes an open book. This behavior is backed by psychological research. Studies on social perception show that people are naturally drawn to those who don't conform to expectations. Being enigmatic signals confidence and self-sufficiency, traits associated with leadership and strength. It also forces others to invest effort into learning about you, which builds a subconscious connection and respect. What really sets the Sigma apart is his refusal to play by the traditional social rulebook. While many follow established norms or seek validation through attention, the Sigma is the plot twist, the unexpected element in any story. He walks his own path and doesn't need to explain why. This independence and unpredictability make him fascinating, respected, and yes, even a little intimidating. In a world where oversharing has become the norm, the Sigma male's enigma is a powerful reminder that sometimes less really is more. Point 6. Boundaries like a fortress. Sigma males are famous for their strong, unshakable boundaries. These boundaries aren't just casual lines in the sand. They're ironclad rules that guide how they interact with the world. Unlike many who might struggle with saying no, Sigmas say it clearly and confidently without the need for apologies or excuses. This firm stance sends a powerful message. Their time, energy, and respect are not up for grabs. Why is this important? Boundaries are fundamental to mental and emotional health. Psychologists agree that setting clear limits helps protect against burnout, stress, and toxic relationships. Sigma males intuitively understand this. When they say no to drama, disrespect, or unnecessary obligations, they aren't just avoiding trouble, they're teaching others how to treat them. Walking away without drama is another key Sigma trait. They don't waste energy on conflicts or emotional theatrics. Instead, they exit situations that don't align with their values or boundaries quietly and decisively. This calm detachment is part of what makes Sigmas mysterious and magnetic. They don't get pulled into chaos, and that self-control draws people in. Interestingly, research in social psychology shows that people naturally respect those who enforce clear boundaries. It's a sign of self-respect and confidence. When you don't tolerate nonsense, you show others that you value yourself and expect the same in return. This is a powerful, almost magnetic force because people subconsciously seek to engage with those who have their own internal compass. Here's the twist. People are attracted to what they cannot control. Sigma males, with their firm boundaries and independent mindset, are famously hard to influence or manipulate. This resistance to control makes them even more appealing, like a puzzle others want to solve but can't. In a world full of drama and chaos, a Sigma's calm, boundary-filled presence stands out. It commands respect, admiration, and yes, a little envy too. Point 7, purpose over popularity. Sigma males aren't chasing clout, they're chasing purpose. Unlike many who seek validation through likes, followers, or social status, Sigmas operate on a different wavelength. Their motivation isn't external approval, it's internal alignment. They care less about being liked and more about being true to themselves and their mission. This mindset sets them apart. Where most people wake up scrolling social media or worrying about what others think, Sigmas rise with a clear mission in mind. Whether it's building a business empire, sculpting their physique, or mastering a complex skill, they wake up laser-focused on their goals. This intense focus creates what psychologists call flow state, a mental zone where one is fully immersed and energized by the task at hand. It's this flow state that drives their productivity and growth. That kind of tunnel vision, it's captivating. When a man is deeply engaged in pursuing his passion, it radiates confidence and purpose. This isn't about arrogance, it's about authenticity. Sigma males don't need to boast or brag because their actions speak louder than words. They're quietly powerful, and that silent strength is magnetic. Research in social psychology shows that people are naturally drawn to those who exhibit strong intrinsic motivation. When someone is passionately driven by their own values and goals, they emit what's often called purposeful energy. This energy attracts others, especially women, who often value emotional intelligence and ambition in a partner. It's not just about physical appearance or charm. It's about the deeper connection forged through dedication and focus. In short, Sigma males create a magnetic aura by prioritizing purpose over popularity. They build lives rich with meaning, not noise, and that makes them unforgettable. Point 8. Emotional intelligence is king. Let's clear up a common misconception. Sigma males are not emotionally numb or detached. In fact, they are often highly emotionally intelligent. Emotional intelligence means understanding and managing your own emotions, as well as recognizing and respecting the emotions of others. Sigma males excel at this, which sets them apart in how they handle life's challenges. Unlike many who impulsively react to situations, Sigma males respond thoughtfully. This distinction might sound subtle, but it's powerful. Reacting is often knee-jerk and driven by emotion, like snapping in anger or frustration. Responding, on the other hand, involves pausing, assessing the situation, and then choosing the best course of action. This self-control prevents them from making rash decisions and helps maintain peace in stressful moments. Their ability to regulate anger and other intense feelings is a skill developed through practice and self-awareness, not something they're just born with. Research shows that emotional regulation correlates with better mental health, stronger relationships, and overall success. So Sigma males' calm demeanor isn't just a personality quirk, it's a real advantage. In a world where emotional outbursts are common, the composed Sigma male stands out as a calming presence. This emotional steadiness creates trust and respect from others, making them naturally magnetic. People are drawn to that rare ability to stay grounded, especially when chaos surrounds them. So yes, this emotional mastery, it's incredibly attractive, and it's one of the reasons Sigma males leave a lasting impression wherever they go. So here's the takeaway. The art of not giving a damn isn't about being heartless, it's about being fearless. It's about reclaiming your time, your energy, your life. In a world full of noise, the Sigma male chooses silence with substance. In a society addicted to attention, he chooses purpose with peace. And that's why he attracts without ever trying. All right, Sigmas, if this video spoke to you, if you felt that inner fire light up, don't just watch. Join this movement. Hit that subscribe button, smash that like, and let's build a tribe of unshakable men who live life on their own terms. Remember, the world doesn't need more followers, it needs more free thinkers, it needs more Sigmas. Stay true and stay Sigma. Why is it that some men are always on the outside looking in, and yet they don't seem to mind? Because they're not trying to get in. While society often obsesses over alpha males, the dominant leaders, and beta males, the agreeable followers, there's a third archetype that breaks the mold entirely, the Sigma male. These men don't reject the hierarchy because they want to be rebels. They ignore it because it simply doesn't apply to them. Sigma males are lone wolves by choice. Psychologists have noted that such individuals often score high in traits like self-reliance, introspection, and non-conformity. They're not antisocial, but selectively social. They can thrive in groups, but they just don't need them to validate their worth. Unlike alphas who lead the pack, Sigma males lead themselves. They prioritize purpose over popularity, values over validation, and solitude over superficial social climbing. And that's precisely why they never seem desperate to fit in. They've discovered that peace is found not in acceptance from others, but in alignment with themselves. In a world addicted to approval, Sigma males are refreshing anomalies. They don't chase trends, they don't beg for attention, and they don't compromise who they are just to be part of the crowd. Their mysterious, independent nature might make them outsiders, but it also makes them intriguing, resilient, and ultimately unforgettable. So if you've ever felt like you were walking your own path, disconnected from the herd, it might not be a flaw. It might be your Sigma nature calling. And that, my friend, is a strength. Reason one, they don't crave validation. Let's get one thing straight. Sigma males do not need applause to validate their existence. While everyone else is doing things for the gram, Sigmas are doing things for growth. They don't need 300 likes to feel alive. They don't need group approval to act. They trust their own judgment, and that makes them a rare breed. This isn't just a catchy line, it's backed by psychology. According to self-determination theory, true motivation stems from autonomy, competence, and relatedness. Sigma males exemplify autonomy. They don't perform for the crowd, they act from internal convictions. While others crave external validation, Sigmas are fueled by self-validation, an inner compass that doesn't waver. When you stop seeking validation, you break society's most unspoken rule, conformity. Society wants you to play a role, dress the part, speak the script, and never question the rules. But Sigmas don't just break the rules, they walk off the stage entirely. They're not antisocial, they're selectively social. They engage when it's meaningful, not because it's expected. Why is this so powerful? Because validation-seeking behavior is linked to anxiety, low self-esteem, and burnout. Studies show that people who constantly look for approval tend to experience more emotional instability. Sigmas, on the other hand, often exhibit higher levels of self-reliance and mental clarity. They understand that self-worth isn't a popularity contest. It's something you build quietly, day by day, through discipline, reflection, and action. And here's the twist. When you stop chasing validation, people start noticing you more. Ironically, detachment from approval becomes magnetism. That's why Sigma males often seem so compelling. They're not trying to impress anyone. They're just becoming the best version of themselves. So the next time someone questions why you're not following the herd, remember, you're not lost. You're just walking a path only the self-assured dare to take. Reason 2, they're deep thinkers in a shallow world. Let's face it, modern culture thrives on small talk. Whether it's celebrity drama, the latest viral trends, or debates over who wore it better, society is hooked on surface-level chatter. But Sigma males, they tune it out. While others scroll through gossip, Sigmas are neck-deep in books, breaking down philosophies, decoding systems, and applying knowledge in ways most people wouldn't even consider. Sigma males are the intellectual rebels of the social hierarchy. They're not trying to be edgy or different just for the sake of it. They're built to think critically. Research from the Journal of Individual Differences highlights that individuals with introverted and independent personality traits, which Sigmas often embody, are more likely to exhibit high levels of cognitive curiosity and deep analytical thinking. They aren't satisfied with, "that's just how it is." They want to know why it is, how it got that way, and what happens if you challenge it. This relentless questioning often isolates them. In a world that celebrates fitting in, Sigma males disrupt the narrative. They walk into a shallow pool and start asking deep questions, like why the water's shallow to begin with, and the result? Confused stares, uncomfortable silences, social exclusion. But here's the twist. Sigma males don't mind. They would rather walk alone with integrity than blend in wearing a mask. Being misunderstood is a small price to pay for being real. This isn't arrogance, it's authenticity. It's not that they're too cool for small talk. It's that their minds are too wired for substance to stay stuck in it. And that's what makes them powerful. In a society obsessed with image, Sigmas pursue insight. While others follow trends, they follow truth. And in doing so, they forge their own path, one that doesn't require approval to feel valid. Because at the end of the day, Sigma males know one thing: it's better to be underestimated than to be uninspired. Reason 3, they operate outside the social hierarchy. Most people are busy climbing ladders, career ladders, social ladders, hierarchies of power and prestige. But Sigma males, they dismantle the entire structure. They don't seek validation through status. They're not playing chess to become king. They've already left the board. While the world argues about who's alpha, beta, or gamma, the Sigma male is quietly building his own kingdom, often in literal solitude. Think Thoreau at Walden Pond, or Keanu Reeves quietly dominating Hollywood without craving the spotlight. Sigmas don't care where they rank because they never subscribe to the ranking system to begin with. This mindset is what makes them so unpredictable. In a society wired around conformity and control, the Sigma's refusal to play by the rules disrupts expectations. Psychology tells us that humans crave categorization. It helps us feel secure. So when someone refuses to be defined, that unknown becomes intimidating. Studies in behavioral psychology even suggest that unpredictable individuals can trigger discomfort in group settings because they're harder to influence or manipulate. Sigmas steer clear of drama ego contests and power games, not because they're weak, but because they see through the illusion. Power gained through dominance is fleeting. Influence gained through integrity is lasting. They're mission-focused, not attention-hungry. This singularity of purpose makes them efficient and often highly successful, though you'll rarely see them bragging about it, and that's why they don't fit in. Not because they're flawed, but because they're free. Free from social games, free from peer pressure, and free from needing the world's approval. Society might see that as a threat, but Sigmas see it as clarity. They've never needed the ladder because they've always had wings. Reason 4. They value solitude over noise. Crowds, overrated. Parties, maybe if the moon's in retrograde and the playlist doesn't suck. Sigma males thrive in solitude, not because they're antisocial, but because that's where they recharge, refocus, and reconnect with themselves. Unlike extroverts who draw energy from social interaction, Sigma males are what psychologists classify as introverted individuals with high autonomy. They're not afraid of being alone with their thoughts. In fact, they seek it. In today's hyperconnected world, silence has become rare and even feared. Most people drown themselves in distractions, endless scrolling, background noise, constant notifications. But Sigma males lean into the quiet. Why? Because silence sharpens their focus. It's in these quiet spaces that ideas are born, goals are refined, and resilience is cultivated. Solitude isn't loneliness. This is a key distinction. Loneliness is a craving for connection. Solitude is a conscious choice to be alone for self-growth. Studies show that individuals who spend regular time in solitude have increased creativity, better emotional regulation, and stronger decision-making skills. That's Sigma energy in action, and no, they don't ghost people. They simply understand that their time and energy are sacred. If they disappear, it's not drama, it's maintenance. A Sigma male knows that peace is more valuable than popularity, and mental clarity beats constant chatter. When you're alone and content, you develop a mental edge. You're less influenced by social norms, trends, or the need for validation. That makes you unpredictable. And in a world obsessed with conformity, unpredictability is power. So if you've ever turned down a night out just to sit under the stars with a good book or journal your thoughts in silence, congratulations, you're walking the Sigma path. You've already outgrown the crowd. You're building something deeper, something most people can't see but will one day feel, because a man who finds strength in solitude doesn't follow the noise. He becomes the signal. Reason 5, they speak with purpose, not for attention. Ever notice how some people talk just to hear themselves speak? That's not the Sigma way. When a Sigma male talks, it's intentional, measured, strategic. Unlike others who may be motivated by the need for attention or validation, a Sigma speaks with purpose. Every word is carefully chosen. They're not about noise, they're about signal. The distinction is subtle but powerful. They're the quiet force in the room, not the loudest voice. This measured approach often catches people off guard, and that's precisely what makes it so effective. In a world where everyone seems to be trying to fill the air with words, a Sigma's silence can be a game changer. It commands attention without demanding it. It's an invitation to listen more closely, to pay attention to what's truly being said. When a Sigma enters a conversation, it's not to dominate or control. They don't need to. They're there to offer something real, something valuable. Whether it's a nugget of wisdom, a sharp observation, or simply a unique perspective, a Sigma male's words are meant to leave an impact. The people around them may be used to surface-level chatter, but the Sigma's insights hit differently. They resonate. This kind of quiet confidence often makes others uneasy. In a culture of over-explainers and self-promoters, the Sigma's reserved nature feels like a power move. And for them, it is. Because it's not about filling the space with endless talking. It's about taking control of the conversation by saying just enough. Their words land with weight because they've earned the right to be heard. In a sea of noise, the Sigma remains a signal, a beacon of clarity and purpose. Reason 6, they prioritize freedom over comfort. Security is nice, but freedom? Freedom is everything. Sigma males possess an inherent desire for independence that drives their every decision. They would rather face the risk of failure chasing their own path than succeed by following the traditional routes that society lays out for them. This mindset explains why so many Sigmas take the leap into entrepreneurship, leaving stable jobs to start their own businesses. They value the autonomy of calling their own shots far more than the comfort of a predictable paycheck. These individuals are not averse to success, far from it, but they have a fundamental aversion to being trapped in a system, bound by the expectations of others. They don't conform to conventional norms because they know that true success that resonates deeply with the soul, requires carving out one's unique space in the world. Society often rewards those who are willing to follow orders, stick to established systems, and stay in the confines of the cage. However, Sigmas are allergic to those cages, those structures that limit personal expression and freedom. This rejection of societal norms is not rooted in rebellion for the sake of rebellion, but in the belief that freedom is the ultimate form of success. Sigmas understand that real growth occurs when you take ownership of your journey, risk failure on your terms, and redefine what success looks like. This is why you'll often see them turning down promotions or leaving jobs with potential for growth, if it means sacrificing their independence in the process. For Sigmas, it's not about following the herd or climbing a corporate ladder. It's about choosing to forge their own path. In a world that often pushes people to follow a prescribed set of rules, Sigmas reject conformity and redraw the map of what is possible. They understand that their path may not always be easy or conventional, but it's theirs, and that's where true fulfillment lies. Reason 7, they challenge the status quo. Ever met someone who just doesn't seem to follow the script? That's a Sigma male. Instead of adhering to societal norms or conforming to the status quo, they break away from the pack and forge their own path. They're the ones questioning why we still hold on to outdated traditions, why we measure success with money, titles, and external validation, and why we place more value on appearing rich than on being wealthy in mind, spirit, and heart. Sigma males see the world through a different lens. They recognize that the societal matrix is built on artificial constructs, rules that often don't align with their values or personal truths. Once they see through the facade, there's no going back. It's like seeing the strings on a puppet show. You can never unsee the illusion. When a Sigma enters a system that doesn't make sense, they don't simply accept it. They don't go along with the crowd or pretend everything is fine. They challenge it. They ask questions that others are afraid to ask. They don't hesitate to break it down, deconstruct it, and rebuild it on their own terms. And if the system refuses to evolve, they simply walk away. This ability to question the norm and reshape the world according to their values makes the Sigma male the ultimate disruptor. They don't follow trends, they create them. They don't fit in because they're too busy standing out and changing the game. For a Sigma, the world is a canvas, and they're not afraid to paint outside the lines. This mindset doesn't just make them unique, it empowers them to lead by example, showing others that true freedom lies in questioning, reinventing, and stepping away from the conventional. So next time you encounter someone who defies the system, who doesn't conform, and who's constantly rewriting the rules, there's a good chance you've met a Sigma male. Reason 8, they're comfortable being the lone wolf. Let's face it, fitting in can sometimes feel like a lonely pursuit. But here's the thing, being alone doesn't mean you're lost. For Sigma males, solitude is a conscious decision. They know that it's in those quiet moments of self-reflection and independence that true strength and clarity are found. While society often pressures people to find their tribe and belong to a group, Sigma males take a different approach. They don't surround themselves with people just to fill an emotional gap or fit in with the crowd. For them, it's more empowering to have no circle than to engage in fake friendships. They trust themselves, trust their own judgment, decisions, and path in life. It's all about embracing their independence, which gives them the freedom to grow on their own terms. You see, when you're walking your own path, there may not always be a cheering crowd behind you. But that's okay. Sigma males understand that the journey is not about applause, admiration, or external validation. The journey is about something much deeper, finding and fulfilling a personal purpose. This deep sense of self-reliance is what truly sets Sigma males apart from others. It's not about isolation for the sake of isolation. It's about choosing solitude to hear their own thoughts, make their own decisions, and ultimately live a life that is aligned with their values. Their solitude is not emptiness. It's a wellspring of growth and clarity. They know who they are and are not afraid to walk alone if it means staying true to themselves. Ultimately, Sigma males don't need a tribe because they are the tribe. So Sigmas, let's be clear, not fitting in is not a flaw, it's a feature. It's a sign that you're not here to blend in, you're here to stand out. These 8 reasons are more than traits. They're philosophies, they're choices. They're proof that being different isn't just okay, it's powerful. You're not broken because you see the world differently. You're awake, you're intentional, you're dangerous to a world built on blind obedience, and that makes you unstoppable. So if any of this resonated with you, if you've ever felt out of place but right on purpose, you're not alone, you're a Sigma. Hey Sigmas, if this video spoke to that wild, independent soul of yours, go ahead and smash that like button. Hit subscribe and join the community of thinkers, creators, and lone wolves rewriting the rules. Live deliberately, think independently, walk fearlessly, and as always, stay true and stay Sigma.